Hello everyone, Conor here. Just as a small disclaimer, some things we may talk about on the pod shouldn't be attempted or recreated. Remember to keep everything legal, keep it between the ages, and don't tear up the ground while you're on the pull. Well folks, how's she going? You're listening to the Agri Automotive Pod by Limited Slip Differences, your perfect blend of cars, tractors and everything in between. I'm Conor. Yep, it's 2 years and I'm still having to read off a phone. And
that's Michael. Did you see someone on TikTok recently?
I like the way you just bring the energy, because normally you're just like, I'm thinking this, I'm thinking that, and then you're just like, well, how's it going?
Well, someone to say that, like, you know, you get a lot of people who have wild opinions on TikTok.
Do you?
Aye. People.
Just before you say that, what's roughly your screen time on TikTok?
Not that much. I don't really use TikTok. I actually only use TikTok to post like the podcast videos.
Because to be fair,
and then after that, I don't really use TikTok.
I looked at mine, and for a month it was 47 minutes.
That sounds about right. I don't
ever really seem to use it too much.
I end up sitting on TikTok, or like I end up sitting on Instagram Reels. I can sit and watch Instagram Reels all day long. You use YouTube Shorts, don't you?
No, it's more. Do you know the way YouTube's set up now, where you have a lot of videos and then you have the shorts?
Yeah.
And a lot of videos. It's more just you happen to scroll up and then you look at a short or two. That's about the height of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still, I suppose, just shows the age. I'm still more long form content.
Aye.
Because now, whenever you're doing whenever you're driving about and you're doing travelling a lot, I suppose it's like wee mini podcasts, listening to certain videos.
Back to the point I was making was fair play. That's a lot of standing up for us, but this fella like tagged where it was the one about the Nürburgring, and the fella was like, "What even is this?" And he was like, "What are these people even talking about?" And I said, "Podcast." And I was like, "Sure, we're an agri automotive podcast." I was like, "I'd say it's pretty on brand for us." He goes, "That doesn't even exist." Then this other lad chipped in, and he was like, "They're literally on YouTube." And your boy was just like, "Oh well, in that case, I'm out." And I was like, "Why are you commenting?"
No. Was it not the bit where it's like, this just stinks of, or just smells?
This stinks of culture.
This stinks of culture.
Like, yeah,
and you're like,
it's
literally an agri automotive podcast, yes.
And your mom's like, "What even is that?" And it's like, "That doesn't exist." And I was like, "It does." And then it's just like, I'm away on. I was like, "Best of luck."
He was like, fuck. You know, as if to say it was, yeah.
We got absolutely trolled.
Aye, but
any video that goes live fairly big with us, we get trolled.
Aye, but at the end of the day, I suppose if you look at it, if you're not from here, like, why would anybody ever contemplate, say for the likes of my choice of the Mark IV Golf? Not that many people would contemplate. They'd be like, "Oh, you'd take like an M2 competition or M4 competition," or
people saying, "Oh, I'd take a Mark 7 GTA. Where are you going to find one for 10 grand?" Or someone's like, "Oh, I'd take like a wrecked M3." And it's like, the goal is to take a car down Nürburgring here, pal. You're not going to take a shagged M3. Like, take it but halfway up the Autobahn, the bottom end bearings go. Like, or the back subframe's rotten, you go in around the corner and she like, back end just goes bang and you end up flying into the Armco. Like, the whole idea was, I think both cars we chose were very realistic. You know, like a 3-door Mark IV stripped out, even if you put like Recaro trend lines or something like that into like Civic Type R seats, your Premier Edition seats into it, you know, comfy enough, somewhat bucket seats.
But realistically, say you bought that and then you did your modifications to the engine to make it, you know, decent per.
But even if you put a set of like I'm going to say Team Dynamics because they're the racing wheels that come to mind, but even a set of Rotoform 6s and wrap them in like Toyo R88s or whatever, like semi-slicks or something. I don't really know my tyres, I'm showing my gap here. Like, you've still got a very, very competitive car there.
Or you could just put a set of long beaches on it and set of slicks and long beaches, or Michelin Pilot Sport or something.
Yeah, like anything like that, you know. I'm just thinking, I suppose, the more racy look, because that's what.
Because to be fair, actually, nobody puts good tyres on wheels over here.
So there used to be, I don't know if you remember this, but Mark Stewart, because this is the car that kept coming into my head. Now, I think he kind of ruined it, but Mark Stewart had a green Mark IV Golf that he done up as a track car. Do you remember that? It was like I wouldn't say it was bright green, but it was like
British Racing Green?
No, it was brighter than that. I don't know the actual. It wasn't actually far off the colour of a John Deere. To be honest, right? Okay. And he had on a set of XXR 527s, and they were like wrapped in like semi-slicks, and it was caged, and it was a PD 150, and that was really, really cool. Then he ended up like he got like a wrap, and he made the number 69, and he put Pornhub and all up the side of it, and it was like, okay, I guess it's kind of funny, but I liked it when it was just kind of like this track car, and I thought that was seriously cool, and it was a diesel PD 150 hyper turbo and all, and I remember seeing that and I was like, that's class. Whenever you said about that last week, that was what came into my head, and I was like, yeah, like that's genuinely, that in my opinion, that's a very strong contender.
Well, the way I looked at it would be like your typical Mark IV over here, but somebody being like, you know, yes, it's good to go and do a lap on it, but actually track it, if that makes sense.
But like,
obviously, you'd probably put a better set of coilovers into it, and you wouldn't just have it sitting with no adjusters in the rear. Mm-hmm. And that, but still at the same time, because
they're like, well, I don't know if maybe the GT TDI or the Anniversary 150 has better standard suspension, but my Bora is like, it's so boaty.
No, but what I mean is you'd put like a set of KWs or something into
you would, no, that's what I mean, or like BCs or something, and go like a proper set. Yeah. Well, I don't know, I think we were pretty on point with our choices when you...
Much knew you then, Michael, this time. We're in episode 52, by the way.
I have been absolutely sick as a fucking dog the last... So...
Do dogs normally get sick?
Well, I don't know, it's just a saying, but... So before Christmas, I took Unwell, and I thought originally I was having a heavy dose of the cold, but I think it was stage 1, because people have said they've got sick, got a bit better, and then bang, it's hit them again.
But did you do anything like stay out in cold well or whatever to get, as they talk about, a relapse of the infection?
Aye. So I took Unwell on Christmas Eve and spent Christmas Day in the house, so I decided I'd edit the video of Tyrone. So I edited Tyrone, the majority of the Tyrone video. Took ages, by the way. Didn't get near enough views on YouTube for what the amount of time spent on it, but anyway. Only a teeny wee bit got it about that one. But, so that was okay. Done it. Christmas Day, Boxing Day. Come to Mum's birthday on the 27th. Started feeling a little bit better. Then I went out on the 28th around Marfelt. 29th and 30th on New Year's Eve. Well, the 29th was a Sunday. I wouldn't say I got a wild pile done. In fact, I started editing the Fate video and finishing off the Tyrone video. And then the 30th and the 31st, I started getting a few bits of welding and all done, started finishing off the gates and all, started trying to hang the gates, but I had no strength. Like, them gates are heavy enough as it is, and on me with like, on a good day, can just about lift them. I couldn't do anything. Like, I was... And then, like, New Year's Eve, we went to yours, but I felt grand. Woke up New Year's Day. Like, Beck had started taking Unwell, but I woke up New Year's Day, couldn't breathe, couldn't move, like, dry cough, sore head, sore eyes. So that was the Wednesday. Bit. Thursday was the same. Friday, woke up, my body gaslit me, thought I was actually better, so took my mum out, needed to go to Screwfix to get something, needed to get latch bolts, through bolts, a couple of other bits and pieces to hang the gates, and I come back from Ballymena, walked in the house and passed out, and Friday evening couldn't move, couldn't breathe, literally was getting to the stage where I was standing at the bottom of the stairs, looking up the stairs, and like, as soon as I got up to the top of the stairs, I was like, hand on the wall, my head in my hands, like lying against, completely out of breath. I was bit. The symptoms I had, now I tested to see if I had COVID out of curiosity. The symptoms I had, I never had the OG COVID, but I had every symptom of the OG COVID. So like shortness of breath, dry cough, sore head, like aches everywhere. Lost my sense of taste and smell. Still haven't really got it back. So, the only thing really I could do was sit and edit videos. So I pulled that together. I got my gate made, and they're up there, but I haven't hung them yet because just haven't the time. Then I put together. I've been talking about doing the Fate video for how long? So finally got a chance to get it pulled together. Released the last one on Friday past there, and I'm very didn't expect the views, I have to say.
No, I have to give it to you. It was an extremely good video, yeah.
And I think it could have been better, only because I was so sick. I didn't have the energy to like maybe do the smaller details that would have made it a wee bit funnier to watch again. But maybe doing that sort of stuff maybe would have been trying too hard. I don't know, the same way like the Rash men do their editing is like the kind of the way I would do my stuff, like kind of like a bit memey in a way. And I didn't really didn't get the chance to do that with the videos because I wasn't feeling it. But I did not expect the video to like do as well as it did. Like and last time I checked, like 48 hours and it's like 7,000 views or something, which is big for us.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Like,
it is very
big or not maybe 72 hours, sorry, 7,000 views. Like, that's big for us. Like, I thought the Donegal Rally video done well, but turns out people really seem to like putting turbos in 11090s.
Nobody else has really done a comprehensive video.
Grassmen did do on Twist of Fate. They did do like maybe a 16-minute video of the whole thing. But as you'll see in like the next videos, like it gets really technical. Like, and it's like a proper, like nearly like a night ride style video.
As you said, you were setting out to make a video that, regardless of your background, or regardless of your mechanical knowledge, that at least if you had a Fiat or, well, yes, definitely for a Fiat 11090, at least now you can go to your videos whenever the other bits are released, and you'll be like, right, I need to do this, I need to do this. You even explained, look, you can go this route, I want a different route, I want more OEM plus, other people can just do a bolt-on kit.
Yeah.
You basically explained everything, whereas, like, I know if there's a video that I'm unsure about something to do with something and I'm researching, it's always funny, you get videos of a certain thing, but it's 90% of always what you want to know.
Yeah.
You always miss that 10%.
Yeah.
And you have to go through other routes, whether it be Reddit, Google, all that, etc. So,
no, the idea of this one, like, I can't remember if it's in the first video or if it's in the second video, but I talk about like a gasket. I think it might be the first video, and I'm like, buy gaskets, because I made that fuck up before with a car. Like, didn't clean up a gasket properly. Now, I wasn't buying gaskets, I bought gaskets, but I never cleaned the gaskets off the inlet manifold properly. And I know that's the exhaust manifold, it's a bit different, but like, it's things like that experience that I've learned from all these fuck ups, that I'm going, right, I can take this. And like, even some of the, like, you'll see in the later videos, like, where like episode 3, obviously episode 2 will be out, and then episode 3 I have to film it. It's only halfway done because technically have to go to the future to go back to the past. It's all a bit weird, but it's, yeah, I'm trying to like basically show someone, like, you can put this together if you follow my advice and buy these oil lines and do this and do that. You will. There's no reason why you cannot fit this turbo kit to your tractor, and like you can do it with basic tools. The only thing, well, apart from the stainless steel welding, but you take that to the likes of your Andy Hamill or someone like that for and get it done right. So yeah, between that and then outside there, where the studio is, finally getting it concrete.
Yeah, so
we can actually move our cars in and out and not bog them and put a heap of muck up around the side of them.
True. I'm sort of half looking forward to whenever it's done that I'll be able to give the car a wash.
And same as my Lexus, the Sierra, and Casper's BM. So whenever they all come out, it'll be a good job. But anyway, you're the man who had the interesting news. So what's new with you?
So a big thing happened in the world of Conor.
Yes. Very big.
So I've had a daily Mark 6 Golf for, I suppose, the better part of 3.5 years now.
So how long you've had it?
Yeah, so I got my...
I keep feeling like you've only had it like a year.
So I know anybody that listens to us will know your car collection, and you've had many cars.
Yes.
And you've went through many cars,
yes,
with trial and error and different bits and bobs.
Yes.
So my first car, Volkswagen Polo 1.4 petrol, I had her for 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
great car.
I got
So
her
many
with
memories in that
12,500 mile, and would have been fairly religious without like servicing her, and if there's ever anything went wrong,
Well, you've talked about it. So,
and then it was start at work, and naturally it was decked, and had to borrow then father's Tiguan, and then it got to be driving it for 6 months, and just to do a work and travel and that, I was putting a lot of miles in his Jeep, and like the likes of putting tyres in that in a Jeep is double the price of a car. So Polo got riz up and different bits and bobs, and it was then used for work purposes. And then I suppose petrol's dear enough to fuel a car. And
then we 1.4s are hard in fuel, but my Mazda 207 was the same. You couldn't carry fuel to it.
She was okay, but like say if you're at a big day's travelling to do, you were filling the tank, and even though it had only went to half tank, you were like, I need to fill the tank again to be able to do, or else I have to stop at a fuel station again. So then a neighbour of mine was changing his Golf, and just last minute happened to be that found out about it, and he was very much like myself, extremely well looked after car. He had taken the notion to change, and then we got the Golf at good money. And the way it was sort of looked at was, look, this is a diesel, you know, you'll get better miles to the gallon. Obviously, like myself, over the course of 3.5 years, it was like, you know, I want a set of wheels on it. So got a very good deal from Johnny on a set of wheels, and turns out triangle tyres, if anybody wants to know, as long as your car is aligned, they will last a lifetime.
Forever, yeah, because they're so hard.
I got 60,000 mile out of them.
Serious mileage,
back tyres, and they were still grand. It was only for a change of heart. So drove her for 3 years, and then, or 3.5 years, sorry, and then it was more or less, there was things going wrong, and it was going to be money to fix them, and it was like, look, if in the event, because my old car had 212,000 mile on her, or has 212,000 mile on her, original turbo, she still has a DPF in her. She's a
1.6.
Yes.
So ticking time bomb as it is.
So original turbo, she is DPF. Well, the DPF has been changed in her life, so she's in her second DPF. And over the course of the time, basically, she's got a small touch of a map. It was sort of a scratch and itch. She was lowered and all that crack. So I made her into what suited me, and then obviously things were going wrong and that, or well, it was going to cost money to fix, and then it was like, look, if this lets you down at some point, you know, it'll cost probably half price of what I paid for the car to get her home and get her fixed and all that there. So
Every bit of it.
So for a long time, I was looking at Leons, Mark II Leons. My father's current car is a V6 A4.
Great car.
Which is probably 270 brake. And whenever you borrow that for a day or two, you really appreciate a bit of power.
I know,
it's not to do massive,
sharp.
It's not to do massive speed running, but just whenever you can put your foot down and go by somebody in that, and you know, as long as you're being sensible with power, you know, it's grand.
I noticed some difference now going back to the Bora, and the Bora, to be fair, isn't a slowpoke either, but when you have the power to just fire past people, and
you miss it.
Then you go to the Bora no longer feels safe, whereas I'd have happily have done like that overtake. I wouldn't say I'm a particularly fast driver, especially not now, since got caught speeding in the Sierra.
We'll talk about that just after this. So, to make a long story short,
I was hoping maybe that would cover it, but
with doing a lot of miles, I was like, right, go for a Mark II Leon with low miles.
I was against that.
People will probably think, why a Mark II Leon, a very old car? And I was like, yes, but whenever you put a lot of miles in a car, you're thinking, right, you're just going to devalue a car. So, no point putting big money into one.
True, but I just don't think the Leon was the car for you. No, I told you that.
Naturally, I was like, sure, they map out really well, and having driv lowered cars for years, you kind of, whenever you're driving a standard car, you sort of...
You realise how you can go down a farm lane and not hear clunk. Oh shit, there's the exhaust.
Well, and comfort's a big thing too.
Aye.
So looking at Mark II Leons, and it got to be basically a week ago, and I was like, I love Mark 7 GTD Golfs.
They are nice cars.
They're like the ultimate everyday car.
Yeah.
Diesel, has the looks of a GTA, round 180, 200 brake, all that crack of the day, right? So I was like, I'll just look up and see an early one to see how dear it would be. And then I was like, that's
actually not bad money.
That's not bad money, is right?
Probably because it is an early 7. Sorry, she's the last of the 7s, isn't she?
No. So at that time, an early 7 was achievable money.
Right.
And like mileage and some of them like for sale not there, was under 100k, but it was around that time you're like, has the timing belt been done on that thing? So that was the major thing. So basically used Car Vertical. And bought a couple of checks. If anybody's looking to buy a car, now I was personally looking over in England, and
you would get a car cheaper there than you would here.
Well, that was the thought. You get them more keen to the price, and I understand you have the cost of bringing it home and all that. But so looked at a couple, and Gemma's brother lives over in England, and he's best mates with a fella that is very much in the automotive industry. He's very much in the automotive industry too.
He has a crest.
He has a crest.
He has a crest. Right.
His crest's called Jack.
Okay.
So you more or less had somebody that, look, if I was to phone somebody, they'd obviously hear the accent.
Yeah.
And I mightn't just be able to deal as well or anything like that, right?
Thank you. Call you a pikey and put the phone down on you or something.
Well, I don't know if they go that far, Michael, but anyway, you do go 0 to negative in like 2.3 seconds.
Aye.
Anyway, so seen one that I really liked. It was the very upper end of the budget. Contacted Mark, said, look, if you wouldn't mind, if you get a chance, ring about it, and I'm ready to put a deposit down.
Yeah.
This particular car already had a deposit down on it.
That must be the blue one you showed me.
So, yeah.
It was a nice car.
It was
a nice car.
It ticked every box. So anyway, a bit more research than that there, and then came upon the one I have indeed bought.
Yes.
So basically, most of the ones in Auto Trader would be from smaller salesmen or dealers, not main dealers, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Excuse me. And
the likes of your crest, kind of like
yes, not to put any of them down, not in any way, shape or form,
but not OEM.
So then came upon one that was the very upper trenches of budget, as in like, is it wise for the cost and all that. So seen one anyway and went, there's a main dealer one.
So describe it. What did you buy?
So basically, I have bought a tungsten silver.
Yes, it's a lovely colour. It's nice. It was the one you looked at, topaz blue.
It could have been topaz. It was like
same colour as Adam's
it was like shadow blue. Do you mind the colour of the polo back in the day, like a bluey navy colour?
It's a bit darker than topaz. Topaz is Adam's are.
So it was like shadow blue, that real metallic dark blue colour, right?
Well, I think the colour you have now is class.
So, basically, it ticked every box. So I was like, right, good with mileage.
How many miles is on it?
There's 50.
50. Right, so if we know there's 50,000 miles on it next year, we'll know Conor's been out with a laptop.
well, that's true, yes. But yeah, I bought tungsten silver. Never seen one that colour before. Didn't even know that colour existed.
Right.
It's like it's a silver metallic with like gold.
But not bad, but it's not like a champagne-y looking colour. It's a nice, it's really, really nice. It wouldn't be, they could have easily have made that colour wild looking, but somehow it looks really good.
Now, I'll be totally honest here. Whenever I seen it in the ad and all that, I was like, right, she's low miles. I don't know about the service history of it because the main dealer just put up, like, you would look fantastic, or this is the best thing ever, and all that crack.
Pile of shite,
Whoever wrote the description for it needs a medal because it's like something you would write. And not in a bad way, but just like really descriptive.
Pure shite. Absolute balls.
Yes. Like soap opera
pure
type of stuff.
Sales tactics, like.
So, so it came. So basically, Mark 7 3-door manual GTD.
Why did you want manual?
I'll tell you the truth. Whenever you're doing a lot of miles, I don't want to have gearbox services. And
funny that I'm taking the Amarok for a gearbox service now. So
one of my work colleagues as well had not the same age but a slightly older car, and the gearbox went bang doing big miles. And I just went, look, manual, I understand at a time I'll have to do the dual mass flywheel and the clutch. That's just hand in hand. Personally, I was like, I never had to do it in the Polo because I don't know how. I never had to do a clutch in the Polo 170,000 miles, but here. But anyway, so looked at it, and it was, things sort of lined up. It was near her brother. It turned out that they had links to the dealership. It was like everything went in line, if you know what I mean. And it was 2015. So then whenever I seen the year of it, I was like, right, now this is only probably going to affect me, but if anybody else is a Mark 7 owner and wants to know this, sure, why not? So basically, from 2013 to probably early 2015, Volkswagen had MAB1 infotainment system in their Golfs. And one of the big selling parts for me was on the radio, the standard radio, it had the App Connect feature for CarPlay and Android.
So is yours MAB1?
No. Mine is literally one of the first MAB2s.
Same as mine.
So mine effectively, whenever I looked at things, was...
Your screen still works, doesn't it?
Oh yes, no problem at all.
Mine doesn't work. My boss's Alhambra doesn't work either.
It's the Discovery Media, as I have now done a wee bit of research for you. Discovery Media, there's a batch of them with bad screens. It's a known fault in them.
That's why. Yeah, it's 100% a known fault. It's just Volkswagen will charge you £1,400 to replace it. Obviously, you don't do that. You send it off to a fella in England. He does it for 140.
You can buy a screen, and you literally can send your radio off on eBay and buy a screen, or pay £140 and that screen, fit it, all that crack.
Probably do it myself.
But you wouldn't do it yourself. I wouldn't do it myself anyway. But long story short, I was like, right, if I was going for an early one, it would be, there is companies
do you hear dripping?
Out there.
Oh, right, yeah.
So
it's driving me crazy.
Right. Would you be, is it overstimulating you?
I don't know, it's just in case it were, I don't know, like before we came on here, the reason I'm a bit grubby looking is I was fixing leaks, and I was fixing leaks on Saturday. I'm just like pure PTSD over the head of water leaks at the minute.
Fair enough. So if I was going to get an early, say, Mark 7 2013 or 2014 model,
yes,
I was like, one of the things I would do is then save a lot of pound and change the MAB1 to MAB2,
yes,
and put a Mark 7.5 screen into the Golf. So essentially,
and a Mark 7.5 screen is, why would you do that?
It's literally just for 8-inch screen, and
so it's
CarPlay.
Bigger screen
and for CarPlay.
Yes.
Now, with me having MAB2 in the car, if I want to go down the route, I just have to buy the screen, pull my dash apart, which is extremely simple to do, pull the two connectors out, stick the two connectors in like a Tiguan screen or a 7.5 screen, stick it in, and it just works. So that's the thought. But anyway, so not everybody's priority, but whenever you're doing miles,
big into your head units and all, because that's like one of the first things you done to the Civic as well.
Well, see, being able to just put your phone, type in your address, hit go, start in CarPlay, and just the screen shows you where to go. I think it's no brainer, like, if you know what I mean. Plus, it modernises the car. So, and plus, if anybody wants to know why I'd always love a GTD, it's so. For me, I've always, in the everyday car, the Polo as well as, well, the Polo not so much, because I was very, very fortunate to be gifted that from my mum and dad. But Mark 6 was an S. So SEs would have came with, like, you know, multifunction steering wheel, better head unit and that. So basically, it was spending money in the Mark 6 to leave it that it was a bit easier to live with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
So
it's only now I appreciate how good an in-car system is. The fact that I can now talk on the phone while driving and not worry about losing my licence.
Exactly, and plus now that it's went up to 6 points, £500 fine.
Yeah, I'm now
cheaper
scared.
just to buy a head unit and have Bluetooth in your car than it is to think. So
that was a long-term plan for the Bora, but we'll see. Sliding left at the minute. So
I suppose the reason for a GTD is it's 2 litre.
Yep.
So I would presume they're a better engine over a 1600.
Oh yeah.
It has a bit of power.
Yes, it does. It
pulls, not
pulls
the quickest thing in the world, but it has a bit of power.
But you're not matching a V6, but
no. But like in theory, if they were smart enough, they should have put the V6 into the Golf and made it a GTD. But then it would have been too much. It would have nearly been better than a GTA.
Yes.
But anyway,
and it would have probably more people would have ended up buying. I think more people would end up buying Golfs, and less people would go for the likes of the Audis and stuff.
Possibly. But so is the fact then of like, if I was say to get a standard Golf, I would just want to buy like Valant headlights to have the DRLs, tail lights, spoiler, skirts,
you've it all done.
Whereas it's on it from factory, and it's only whenever I get to the age of 30 that I'm appreciating all this stuff.
It's the same as me. Whenever I went for the Amarok, it had to be a Highline.
Yes, because you
weren't going to buy a trend line. It was, I want a Highline, and if I decide to sell it after a year, it's now, thank you Rachel Reeves, you've completely fucked up our whole thing with the pickups now anyway, so my Amarok's going to be worth nothing.
It's not that it's going to be worth nothing. It's just the fact that they're going to be just that bit harder to buy brand new. Think about it.
Yeah,
if you're a farmer, you're still going to buy a pickup.
I think I'd still own pickups, to be quite honest with you. But you just can't get the VAT back, which is the balls.
True, but
unless you go for a single cab, but that doesn't work for me because I'm hoping by the next time I go to buy, I'll have a family.
Yes, well, and an Amarok inside is pretty much the size of a Golf in the cabin.
Slightly bigger. It's very wide.
Very wide, wouldn't be as long, maybe.
No, it wouldn't. You definitely, legroom is shite.
You'd probably be saying the length of a Polo and the width of a van. So
that's probably fair enough.
But yeah, so it more or less has everything, and I was like, look, it's diesel, low miles. Now, I got it from a Crowd Group 1 Volkswagen in Telford. A plus
ultimate stance.
A plus to deal with.
Right.
They funny. One of the first things I was like, look, it's a 2015 car. It's still old at the end of the day. Yes, it's low miles, but I was like, look, has the timing belt and water pump been done? Whoever had that car before me must have just, because whenever I was doing the deal and asking the questions and that, they were like, oh, is this going to be your second car? And I was like, no, this is going to be my main car, because like the belt and the pump was done on it at 25k.
That's mental.
And that was 5 years ago. So nearly, for peace of mind, they were like, you really don't need to do that to like it's at certain mileage or whatever. And I was
You'd probably still do around the 100k mark anyway, because it'll have been 10 years. No, well, 7 or 8 years.
I'll basically stick on top of that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But then the other thing was, whenever they done a video to show me, because obviously I'm not living in England, they were like, oh, this here's that way. The front 2 tyres are Pilot Sport 4s.
Jesus.
The 2 rear tyres are like Continental Sport things. I have no idea. Like,
whoever had it has spent good money on it.
Like Pilot Sport 4s, they're a good tyre.
Yeah. Oh, they're big rent.
I looked at them and
they're 160 a corner, 180 a corner.
But whoever bought at the time that he bought them for, he got them at £90 a corner.
Holy ghost.
That's what I thought
Must have known someone.
So I looked them up and they're double the price now.
Oh yeah, easily. Tyres have got way money, but
true, very true. But yeah, it's just even simple things. Now, whenever they brought it out, went to collector there at the weekend, and originally I thought, look, it's ticking every box. I'm kind of compromising slightly in the colour because I hadn't seen it before. I was like, it's like the only one I've ever seen that colour.
I think the colour's class personally, but I like silver.
But I was like, you know, like there was a lot of red ones, and it was just like lacquer peel stories. Don't want to know about it. There was a grey one I'd looked at, and they looked really well in grey
nice.
things. Then it came round. Then they drove it around. They were like, "Have you seen the car?" I was like, "No." They were like, "Look, it's just finishing touches have been done on it. Then we'll drive it around." See, in the fog, it looked like a really light grey sort of colour.
It's mean looking.
And I
think it's
was
class.
like, me and James' brother Mark were like, that's actually really nice.
Yeah.
Now, because obviously the black accents, you know, the rubbers around the windows,
Yes,
the
of
black
course.
footer and that, was like, that looks well. So, yeah. So far, the modifications to it have been mud flaps. And I'll tell you this much, right? For anybody that has a GTA or R Mark 7, not 7.5, see, trying to find mud flaps for the front of them is near impossible. This is going to sound insane, but I had thought I had got genuine ones on eBay. Didn't realise how hard they'd be to get, and gave 140 quid for them. And then he messaged saying, "No, these are for a 7, normal 7 genuine ones." And I was like, okay, fair enough. So a lovely fella gave me the money back and all, so I was like, happy days. So just bought fucking random ones and butchered them. And I did a Michael. I got the angle grinder out, my little angle grinder that has never been used before in the 2 years I've owned it.
Jesus.
I know it even as a dial to show how much like RPM to put out of it itself. You know what I mean? It still has the original cutting disc on it, and all it's cut is rubber. You know, so. But no, I've found a set of front ones, or supposedly front ones, in like AliExpress or like Temu or some of them places. But yeah, so got her. She's rubber mats on her, and I got CarPlay activated. So
deadly joke.
So yeah, to say I am over the moon and think I am King Dick is the only way I can describe it. And
health to drive then.
Hopefully health to drive, and yeah, hopefully it lasts a long time. And I've sort of went over my budget a good bit at this stage, but
right.
It's got a year's Volkswagen warranty, a year's roadside assistance and that.
Year? Well, that's good.
To be honest with you, so like if anybody is, I suppose you could say, looking for something of that there, I have to say Group 1 Volkswagen are extremely good to deal with.
Fair play.
And one wee Easter egg.
Yes.
So I was on the drive home to the boat, got to Birkenhead, got checked in, drove up the thing, what did I see? And going on to the ferry, obviously. Have a guess. What car do you think I would have seen that would have made me stop in reverse?
A Swan Cam?
No.
A Type R?
Yeah.
Really?
So, I like the way how to give you a wee.
Ah, yeah. Look at your own.
Yes. So funny, drove uphill and was like, geez, there's a wild clean Premier. And then there was nobody at it, so I was like, I can't stop talking. And then the assumed the owner was there, so I was like, fuck it, I'll reverse up and say hello. Aye. So reversed up and I was like, you just bought her? And then turned around and he was like, well, Conor. And I was like, fuck away off. So
class.
It was Taylor Laverty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was telling me he had just sold his Evo 7.
Yes.
And he bought a turboed Civic in Liverpool. Aye, she rolled 420.
That'll be a handful.
Aye, I have got to give it to her, or got to give it to him. An absolute mint box. She's on Evo 8s.
Yes.
Looks.
It's Cosmic Grey.
Cosmic Grey Premier.
That's a nice wheels for him.
And she's in Pilot Sport 4s all round.
Should need them.
She would.
Should need them. I'll be terrified.
Extremely. He just said, look, he bought her from a dealer. And he got a few bits and bobs in the deal, and she's got yellow speed coilovers, yellow speed big brakes. I mean, savage spec of a car. I spoke to Tyler then for about half an hour or so, and absolutely lovely chap. You know, when health to drive to him, I was like, see you bought that. I was like, I got a new dealer. You know, and
well,
I'm assuming from TikTok, not sure if he listens or not, but if he listens then he'll hear this. But him and the girlfriend got froze while I stayed in the car. You
didn't open the door and offer them in?
I offered, being like, look, you can go and sit in the car again if you want, and I'll head on, like, so it's alright. And they were like, no problem, sure, I'm grand, and then he said to the girlfriend, "Are you grand?" She was like, "Yeah." But only I basically was knackered, so I went straight to the cabin. I think they were assuming that I would
100%.
go and chat to them up in the
Here, look, if you
quarters of the boat.
But plenty of time talking to them.
No, a very strange week for me. Never flew on my own before. Never got a boat on my own before.
Welcome to my world.
But sure, I don't get out much, but it was nice. It was nice getting out and seeing.
Can't believe you've never flown on your own before.
No, but I'll tell you one thing, right? See if I'm my own, like I like to be in my own wee world. So basically, went into the international airport beforehand, downloaded a few movies and TV shows, not there on my phone. Put the AirPods in and just sat. And it's funny how quick time can go by whenever you're actually just watching a film.
I always download a rake of YouTube videos and.
But no, it was me. I made a big deal out of basically nothing, and thankfully Gemma was good enough to book everything and leave everything very simple for me. So yeah, I've hopefully all going well. Touch wood. Golf does me good, and now we both have really nice everyday cars.
Well due an upgrade.
Okay, do you know something? Like, the Golf never done me any harm, and
it's just tired. It's like the Bora. It's just tired.
And like, she's already provisionally sold.
Well, that's handy.
You know, and to be honest with you, like, she got a clutch just done before I got her, and then like I was chatting to somebody who was possibly, you know, thinking about her, and I was like, look, I put new discs and pads all around on it there, you know, last year, and
she's been serviced religiously.
Religiously every 10,000 miles. So like, she's not burning oil or anything, or doing any things, but just, and whenever whoever does come, I'll let them know about everything. But yeah, no, hopefully if she goes, she does them well, and maybe doesn't make me look stupid for changing. But sure, we all do these things.
You'll be grand. I was meaning to say, you said come back to it later. Yeah, I caught speeding in the Sierra.
Yes. Now, I just, you can edit this out if you want to, okay? But, Michael.
Yes.
Can I just say something, right?
Yes.
Now, you wrote into the friend group chat, and you were like, got caught speeding. And you said what you got caught doing.
Yeah.
What you got caught doing it in.
Yeah.
And the circumstances around this. And all I seen and all I could think of whenever I read it was, you're a fucking dumbass.
No, so I'll explain.
But I'll say why. I was like, so, again, edit this out if you don't want to in it. You're driving a car in a dual carriageway, possibly.
Kind of, yeah. 40 mile an hour zone.
Yes. With a car with no fucking speedo that works. And you wondered how you got caught speeding. Like, if that doesn't scream, I am a bit of a dumbass.
Yeah, the speedo.
And I have no leg whatsoever to stand on. And complain about.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, I met the speed camera twice that day. Turns out I met it 3 times. And yeah, the time I met it, I didn't know I'd met it. So I met it coming up at like Altnagalvin when I had it in the trailer. And then I took it over to Becca's house because I was doing that fundraiser thing for Darren Mellon.
You would actually would be wild funny. I'm just saying this. If you had no number plate in the trailer, which I'm assuming it's you would have had a number plate in the trailer.
Yes, I do.
If you were doing like fucking, say it was facing up the way and you were driving by it that way, and you had sped up by accident, river, and the fucking Sierra got done for speeding while on a trailer, that would have been fucking hilarious.
I was thinking, was that maybe part of the thing? But anyway, no, I got them to send me a photo of it, and I was like, so originally I was like, no, there's no way I got caught speeding, because I was like, I seen the speed camera, and I was like, I know for a fact because I went by it, and at this stage the GPS was working. My car, since like it hasn't been running right on the cold idle since the wee hiccup at JDM Classics, set of spark plugs should sort that. So she was running, then she died out, so I just started her again. But when you start it a second time, sometimes the GPS speedo doesn't kick in.
Oh dear.
So I was driving her because of the gearbox.
Is that because you're rolling and it can't calibrate itself?
I think so.
Oh, well, then that makes total sense then.
Yeah.
It's not exactly setting at 0, so it can't calibrate.
Yeah.
So you're moving, it's like, the fuck am I meant to do here?
Yeah. So,
like, if you speed up, does it start to move?
sometimes.
Oh, well, then it's a calibration issue then.
So, and obviously, like, I wasn't wanting to drive hard because I have to hold my gear stick up because of so I was only driving it like 3 mile from like Culmore over to Altnagelvin.
Yeah.
And I do remember saying to myself, just before coming up to Altnagelvin, the car was finally warm, and I was like, it hasn't done any driving. I've been good the whole way. You know, I've been avoiding like I've been keeping it low, keeping it slow, etc. I was like, I'll just do a wee fucking pull here, and that's where I got caught. Didn't even realise. So, and I mean, it was third gear, just up to like 5,000 RPM.
Yeah.
So,
but you've got 500 horsepower, lad.
yeah. So anyway, they wouldn't give me the speed awareness course, and to be honest, I'm probably could have been on grounds for having 6 points. I got lucky. So I did write to them and go, here, look, honestly, I thought I didn't get caught speeding. Could I see proof? And then they sent me a picture, and then I went on Google Maps and traced where it was, and just went, I didn't see that speed van at all. But I'm raging because the whole time, and in that car generally I am cautious because it is a rocket ship. Like, I was like, I don't want to drive it hard. Like, that car I would normally drive slower than anything else. Like, the car that gets driven the fastest is the Bora. Like, the Bora is staged everywhere, and like the Sierra normally gets treated with a better respect.
But it's staged at 130 brake. It's staged, but it's slow staged.
Yeah, okay, but
like
this thing
your daily's over 300 horse, and your race car is fucking over 500 horse.
Nah.
And your Bora that you stage, you have to stage it to go anywhere.
So it was like, yeah, well, I mean, it could be worse, could be the P100. I don't think you'd ever get a speeding fine in that.
You just have to stage it to go to 50 mile an hour.
It's true. Yeah, fuck you talk about. So I seen it, and whenever I seen the picture of it, I was just like, that's sick.
At least
So,
in the
3
P100,
points. So
if you're in a 40, you're probably doing 20.
my P100, when you're doing on the Revos, when the speedo was reading 70, you were doing 48.
So basically, your miles per hour was actually your kilometres per hour.
Pretty much, yeah. She was.
Fuck,
Yeah.
that would have been good, hey.
Whenever I moved to the 15s, the 70 became 55 mile an hour. So once I change the diff setup and all on it, it'll be better to drive, I guess. It'll actually do 70 mile an hour, but obviously it'll take longer to get there.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're digressing. Move on to our guest.
We should surely, yes.
So, the guest this week is a very close friend of both me and Conor, Stevie McMullen. Stevie is a painter, has done work for me in the past. Have you ever done any work for you?
Stevie, no, he's done a small wee thing for me before. Absolutely first class.
So, without further ado, we're buzzing to have on one of our best friends on the podcast, Stevie McMullen.
Still mind, I think either you just passed the test, or I can mind you message me at times going, you know, would you mind would you mind sitting down with me and I'd cruise up and down the prom?
That's fucking hilarious. I just needed it. The car and all there, I needed it.
Because, I suppose you were
What was it? Was
2
it
years younger than Johnny.
Was it the 106 or the Fabia?
No, it was the Fabia.
Aye, that was
The
fun.
106 came a long time after that. Was
Oh, you was it a wee black or a wee purple Fabia or something?
no black one. Aye.
Blue wheels.
I had blue. I put blue wheels
I
on it
still
for some
have.
reason. That was different.
Did you
I
have
bought different.
adapters?
I did. There were BM wheels, E36 wheels.
Them wheels are lying in my shed.
You got them for the E36 the
yes.
TDS that time. That's
Yes,
right.
they come off the TDS.
Yeah.
They're lying in my shed because I bought the TDS.
And you bought Polo GTA skirts for it, and you were trying to get them to fit, and then you're trying to offload them to me.
That's right.
And we
They did fit. What? I can't remember why I didn't put them on.
You
then.
cut clips off them.
Was that what it was?
It was you had to modify them a wee bit, and then I didn't actually have the money to buy them off you that night, and then I did buy a set of genuine ones myself off TPS back when TPS actually sold to customers instead of just trade.
Aye, that's a nightmare.
And then I fitted them at Johnny's house that night with just the 3M tape.
Was there not something about that? Did you not only get one off me? I think.
No, don't think so.
Are you sure? Because
I definitely bought
had a
the
wee
set.
whoopsie in that car, and I'm near sure the skirts were on it at that time, and that's why there was only one left.
That's actually why I didn't buy them off you then.
That's what it was. That's why the things were broke. I'm just remembering that now.
So 15 seconds in, we've completely fucking digressed. So yes, we've got one of our closest friends, Stevie, in the podcast with us. So Stevie is a painter and a bodywork man, allegedly. So
Apparently.
we've been wanting to, we've been wanting to bring you on
know
for
what
a
the
long
50 Shades of Grey is anyway.
Don't talk about Grace.
Alexis.
The 50 Shades of red and the 50 Shades of yellow.
50 shades of every colour you can think of.
Yeah.
I deal with it every day.
So we've been talking about having you on for quite a while because obviously you're a painter and it would make very good podcasting
And
content.
to be fair, you weren't going to
Apparently.
come on one other night, but I arrived here and then the boss man was beside me here said, "Oh, Stevie can't make it tonight." And I went, "Well, what are we talking about?" I don't fucking know.
That's right.
So it was 10 minutes of trying to come up
Work
with
something
something.
Oh, it might have been before Donegal Rally last year. I can't remember.
Aye, for it was definitely a filler episode. And
100%. 100% happens
Yeah.
all the time. But I suppose, obviously we know you, but the listeners aren't going to know you. So you're out on your own now.
I'm out my own now.
So what's your company called?
SRM Body Repair.
And how long have you been painting? Like, how did you get into it? So we'll just go from the start.
Back to the start. I started when I was 16.
Was that
To
fixing?
paint?
Was that fixing the Fabia?
Actually, well, I'll tell you what, we'll go further back in that again.
What got you into cars to begin with?
My dad. I've been around cars since, I would say, my dad's always been, probably about 5 is when I started. I learnt to drive in my dad's Skyline R33.
That's right, because you
At
were
Bishopscourt.
Yeah, you were at Bishopscourt before any of us even knew what
That
Bishopscourt
was
was.
that's going way back now. Yeah, I think I was 8 when I learned to drive.
What
And
year
before I
roughly-
could change into second gear, I was doing circles in the Skyline.
What year roughly was that?
Well, what am I now? I'm 26, so quick math isn't working here. I was 8. That's
A while ago.
No,
18 years ago.
Because roughly around 18 years ago, I was at probably AMA or even before.
That
it
was
would have
before AMA. That was when UDC was
Pro
there.
drift?
been. For an
Pro
old
Drift done an event at Bishopscourt. I think at the time just one maybe.
my brother actually took me to Bishopscourt one time, and it was still the classic layout at that stage. And now, like 300 brake was massive back then.
Oh, that was more than enough. Like.
The Skyline, probably, I would say, was it standard? Part of the well, the
I had a
diff and
bit of
whatnot.
stuff done to what now? I can't mind. It had a bigger turbo and stuff on the
Was it an RB 20, 25?
RB25.
Like, what was that car worth? And so you were 18 years ago, so 2007.
I can tell you
What?
now, my dad bought it in Inverness in Scotland, and I wanted to go over with him to get it, but my dad wouldn't let me at the time because of school and whatnot. So he went over anyway with a mate of his, and I think he gave £2,800 for that car, and that was strong money back then.
2,800
£2,800.
for an R33 RB25.
Yep.
GTST.
GTST. It was a spec 1, as you call it?
Don't know.
Spec
Not tied it. Not.
It
Well,
was
we'd need Jack
the
McGarry.
earlier
sitting
one
there to-
anyway, 'cause
Jack
there's-
McGarry would be screaming at the podcast right now.
Probably. But that's where it all started, really.
How long did he have the Skyline then for?
He had that car maybe a year.
Is
Not
that all?
even. Aye, because he changed it. Before the Skyline, there was an E36,
Right.
but it was. He bought that out of England. It was a Road Lego race car. It had bucket seats, cage, and it was used for track days.
Was it an M3 engine?
328, just
328.
328. Bit of stuff done to it. It was Techno Violet.
Yes.
So we had that there for a while. Done a couple of events at Bishopscourt. Everyone else sort of had Jap cars and that, and everyone ran about way. And then he decided he wanted it. There's the Skyline came up, so he went for that. Had that for a while. Got rid of it. Got an S14 from Monaghan.
Right.
It was a drag car.
Right.
Oh,
I think it was fully forged, whatnot. Had carbon fibre bonnet stuff. It was black.
Fully forged SR20.
SR20.
Is that the engine you still have lying?
No.
Oh.
No, that's a different one.
Right.
So he had that. Now, how long he had that again, don't know. And
When you're not age time, just sort of.
you were child.
I went a while. I used to go to them drift days at Bishopscourt and that. He was doing start line marshalling, scrutineering and stuff as well.
Oh, so he wasn't actually drifting?
No, he was doing that as well, but he would have done the scrutineering and stuff checking the cages and all that there as well. So got a bit of VIP treatment, like, so start line and whatnot. I used to sit in that car. Bishopscourt was a long drive near that age, like.
Oh, aye. Still a long drive now.
Car at the start line in the bucket seat and sleep while he was out doing marshalling or whatever, like. And how I slept through that noise, I don't know. But that's where the whole car journey began.
So then,
and everything just went downhill from there.
How long did your dad have the likes of Jap cars and different bits and bobs until was he still buying and selling them and using them to your teenager, or?
No, he probably stopped really. Maybe I would have been about 11, maybe. I think.
So maybe 3 or 4 years he was doing it, shall we say? Yeah.
And then it's not that he lost interest in it. He got into motorbikes and stuff, and then the cars and everything else was starting to get more expensive then. And
motorbike wouldn't be a cheaper hobby, I suppose, at that stage.
Aye, so we went through the different phases, like. Same with myself. That was bikes and cars, and then when engine and wheels. That's.
When did you get your first car then?
My first car I got. When you're talking about him buying and selling Jap cars, I actually got it. I think I was maybe around 10, but it was a shell. It was an S13. He bought it. He bought it in Ballymena. It was an S13, CA18.
Okay.
Had a lot of engine work done to it.
So it must be a 200 SX then, if it was a CA18.
Aye, it was.
Yeah,
It was green as well.
Right.
It was like a dark green colour they came in.
Yeah.
And on the way home, it threw a Burns, I think.
That was nice of it.
Aye. So he stripped the engine, he broke the car, and I wanted the shell. But he gave me the fitter at and screw bits on and off and whatnot. And then obviously I couldn't do them wet because I was that young. So he sold it then, and I think it always just sort of like from there on. Obviously that gave me a wee bit of money. He bought it, and I just sort of went to my next toys.
Yeah.
And I went through phases of bikes and quads and all that.
Did you have quads as well?
I had go-karts and buggies, and I had something and I got rid of it after a while because I
You're
got bored.
quite
Just
lucky
want
in
something
that
else.
sense for your parents basically allowing you to do
I can't wait to get my Wayne's quads. As long as I'm blessed with them, I can't wait to. I've already said as soon as my child gets a quad, I get a quad. I disagree with Becca.
Well, I got my daughter a quad there. What was that? A couple of years ago.
Yes.
I don't know if he's mind. It was only a wee 50 thing. Like.
Oh, was that wee Suzuki?
No, it wasn't LT50.
Chinesium thing, was it?
It was just something cheap. But I got her that there at the time, and I had good fun on that alone with her, and it was dead. Like it was just out in the snow on it. But she lost interest in that wee bit. She's turned very girly. So
here it happens at the end of the day.
complain, like, but I was trying to get around the wee tomboy phase, but that didn't work.
You never know.
Oh, she's still young yet at the same time.
She's like what, 5, 6?
She's 5. She'll be 6 here in April.
Right, she's plenty of time to make life choices and make bad financial decisions yet.
So from all of that in regards to quads and different things, then what was the next sort of?
Well, you were talking about the first car, and we're just off on a tangent there.
Standard for this podcast.
My first proper car that was driving everything else was an E36. It was a 323.
Right?
I bought it. You don't know, you've maybe never seen it. It was,
I don't think so.
It was like a silvery greeny colour. It was the first car that I got. I wanted a drift car at the time. And obviously saving up over the years, bit of pocket money and stuff was cheaper back then. I think I got that. I got that before the S13. I think it was maybe 14 when I got it. Welded diff into it. 7 Series BBS wheels.
Right? Yes.
M3 kit. And stripped it out and footed at it just in the evening times after school and whatnot. So I got that, went to Academy, ran to Academy out for a couple of hours at the time.
Could you do that back then?
You could, you might still be able to, but
Sure, I don't think they let you drift in Academy at all anymore.
No, there was a whole kick off that at the time. I think some doing noise or whatever else, or someone fell out with someone, whatever it was. But
I think the fella that actually done I think the fella that sort of was involved with all the drifting, I think he passed away. Benny McMullan.
He did.
Yeah,
yes.
he's passed away.
He did.
So.
He ran all them events there.
He would have done all that.
But that E36 was the first car that I got to really learn to drive properly and then start drifting in. Went to Agdue. My dad sat beside me. Take it easy. I didn't take it easy. Came around the bottom corner and I didn't know how to steer a car properly then. So it snatched and it just went the other way, and the next thing there was the bank and I was up on the bank. But damaged the wing door a wee bit. Nothing too serious like. So I was alright, carried on the rest of the day. Then I got quite bored of stuff very easy. I was like, might sell this. I was like, I might sell this. I would like something else. And so I was alright. Stuck it up for sale. And then the S13 popped up in Portrush from Stevie McMullen.
Right.
You know him?
Oh.
No. Well, him, Don Hart, and all them boys used to run about back in the day.
I know
They
Don,
still do. They were all big into their cars. So that came up in the port, and I bought it. And that's really sort of where the painting career began as well, because it was painted in enamel aircraft paint with a roller, I think.
That sounds like Dylan Hart written all over it.
That wasn't Dylan Dunnett written up. But no, it was in. You would have swore it was rollered. So I wanted white. I had a vision of a white S13 with a cookie kit.
Right? Yeah.
And nice set of wheels and stuff.
And was that S13? Was it
facelift?
Cookie kit is, well, type X you call it.
Is Cookie not the original? Is it not? Cookie, Chookie, Singy?
I always thought it was Zenkai then Cookie. Because Cookie S14 is the meaner looking one, the Zenkai is the...
Oh, maybe it's Singy, Chookie, Cookie then.
Maybe.
I always took
Jack McGarry will be again screaming at the podcast.
I used to, whenever I was all in touch with all this, like I wasn't doing a lot.
I always found a Zenkai S14 is the round lights, whereas Cookie is the meaner looking...
S14A?
S14A
S14A
was the Cookie.
Red.
I think S14A is like the UK version of Cookie.
Yeah.
So I think Conor's actually right there for a change.
Fuck you, cheeky man. No, I'll tell you why. I was watching, is it Mighty Car Mods, whatever, on YouTube, and he was putting a Type X kit onto his S13 or one of their S13s. It's more like, looks more aero and stuff on it, or slightly, and maybe a bit fancier looking. And they're well funny with the way the kits are. You have the bumper, and then you have a bit.
You have pieces. You have a piece for the wing. You have your front bumper. You have a wing piece, and then you have your splitter that goes over the wing and the bumper. And the side skirts again. There are two pieces. They have a bit at the is it the back quarter panel, and then another bit runs up to the front of the wing.
Something like that, yeah.
And then the back as well. That's some three pieces, but
something I've never owned is
I got
an S chassis.
And it had the pig nose bumper on it, you call it, which is a more square.
That's what I was going to ask you, because I think I remember it being a pig nose.
The pig nose. I prefer that a lot more. I still do.
Really?
The rounder, aye. See, there's two styles I loved, and I still do love, and it's proper, what would you call it, like 2000s Jap style with the tiny wheels.
That's what I was going to say. Pig nose works if it's, well, I would know it. I think the trend nowadays is called small wheel, big style. That's like, you know, your 4x114 fitment and like a set of SSR long jumps, like 14-inch on like a standard kit.
Yep.
You know, not like a big Origin kit.
Not like that, to be honest with you.
I love small wheel, big style.
I think it's because it's not popular. I think that's why I like it.
Like Dave Egan recently got that PS13.
Not
I think
for
it's
me.
class.
I will fully admit, not for me.
But it's like the Revos in my
like
P100.
If
small wheels.
Don't get me wrong. Now, if I had the opportunity, well, if I could build both, I would have both styles.
Like, put it this way: if somebody had what Chrissy Walsh's old PS13 was sitting there, the blue one, and Dave Egan's new PS13,
I would go for Dave Egan's new PS13.
100% go for Chrissy Walsh's style with the 18s.
Was his blue one? No.
Do you mean the blue one that?
Mental.
The big wide kit and all that, didn't it?
I see. Once I've seen that, I'm like, that is how to PS13 in my head.
I don't know.
Like you're saying about your P100, but it's essentially a Sierra. Like big wheels would look like if you were to put 18s in your car, don't think it would look right.
I was contemplating it.
Like
a set of like dished ones would look alright, but if you like, you see a lot of boys run like them real flat face. Like Al Dillon has them, and a lot of the English boys have them. It's Comp Motives, but it's like a flat face.
6-spoke sort of things, is it? No, like 6-spoke.
You get them as well. And then there's the ones that's like kind of like looks like nearly like a aerofan kind of thing. It's like a flat face with just like all the wee things in the outside
I
lip.
know what you're talking about.
Like,
They're compliments anyway, as far as I'm aware. But my head's just fucking left the chat tonight. But
call me traditional, but
they're all 18s, and that's alright. I think you need dish to run 18s in this era.
I think why I completely disagree is because I tried to put 18s on the 36 at the time. I had them parallels off 7 Series.
Yes.
too big.
Far too big.
Yeah.
But
Parallels on an E46 now.
the only way it would work is if the car was buried on air. But
Yeah,
the minute
yes.
you raise it up to drive it,
Well, it's like a Mark 5 or Mark 6 in 20s. Buried on air,
There was a lad from your direction had a Mark 5, Mark Adams. That was a red Mark 5 on a set of like 20-inch Cantonas or something it was called.
But the likes
absolutely
of
class.
a Mark 7 suits 20s because the arches are big enough to house a 20.
Aye.
Like, you could get away with, it would be like your A4 with 20s, borderline too big.
Yeah, I was supposed to put. There's a set of works sitting in here in the studio, and I was supposed to run them on the Sierra because before I ran the body clubs, and they're crest wheels, and they wouldn't fit on the Sierra because they're true 5x114 and the Sierra's 5x112, and I was sitting there with a drill. And I was like, sort of looked at Crest and was like, you sure know what you want me to do this? And Crest, being the nice, good friend, was kind of like,
going ahead.
he's
He's
like,
really sitting there thinking,
he's like, if you want to. And then I just went, no, do you know what? I was like, I don't think your heart's in it. So I turned around and just bang straight through the body club.
do you mind? I tried them on the purple IS200.
Yes.
That looks serious well in them.
Yes. The one you wide bodied yourself.
Yes.
Yes. And then went for walls.
I'll never
Yes.
forget a man that can do a really good job and then likes to fuck up his really good job as quick as he can.
But this is the thing, because I done it. If I had paid someone to paint that car, I wouldn't have been doing what I was doing with that car. But
Yeah. We'll get onto that in a bit because we'll go back so we don't keep going off topic. So
Yes.
you had the S13, right? You got
had
it
the
from Fort
S13.
Rush.
And
You
it
were what
was
age again?
15, I think.
Yeah.
I think I would be about right.
What made you go for an S13? Just something different?
Loved them.
You
I've
love
always
them?
loved S13s.
Okay.
Pop-up lights and
Ah, yeah, that's right.
love them.
That literally ties in then how we met because that car
That was the wheels.
it came on like a set of purple Primera wheels or something.
Yeah. Well, that is standard wheels for them 200s.
As well.
Aye. They're
That's right. They're genuine 4x1 14.3 as well,
Yeah.
aren't they? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I needed the tyres for my D Turbo because Maguire had lent me a set of Cyclones and I didn't have my car lined. And within 3 days, I had completely wore the front tyres away.
right through.
So I needed to get a set of tyres, and yours were cheap. And I know why they were cheap because they were Paris as fuck. And I give them
I'm
the
not
O.
gonna lie, I probably had no idea about Paris tyres back then.
Neither did I.
I didn't know very much. Like
I wasn't much older.
Because
Like,
that was at the start of my learning career of cars and stuff.
and I remember Owen was like, these tyres aren't worth a fuck. And I was like,
They do now.
they've got good tread on them, but.
What did you do the S13 in the end?
My dad actually painted it for me.
So,
My dad's not a painter,
right.
but he done a pretty good job in that car. Like,
So, did you turn, because you said that's kind of the car that kind of like sort of drove you down
that
the,
started the whole thing because I always had this vision of a white S13 with cookie kit and stuff
Yeah.
on it, and my dad said he would paint it for me. So he says you can prep it, and sort of I was at that age too. My dad done mechanic and stuff. I don't mind mechanic, I don't like doing it every day, and
you're happy enough to fix your own shit, but you wouldn't fix anybody else's.
even
Maybe
at
the
that,
other way
I fix
about.
my own stuff and send it to my brother-in-law. But I always knew I'm not someone that can sit down and work in an office or anything like that. Like, I hate working my hands. I hate doing something physical. Like.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do mechanic, and my dad suggested about painting bodywork.
Yes.
So I thought about it, and I was like, it sounds like a fun job. Like, everyone wants to paint stuff. So that's
Everyone
where I started.
thinks they can paint stuff.
Everyone
We'll get
thinks
on
they
to
can.
that,
We'll get on to that.
We will. So I fitted that car, prepping it, rubbing it down and whatnot. And my dad, I'll never forget it, he kept saying to me, he knows what I like with patience and getting bored of stuff. And he kept saying that you're going to be rubbing the same thing for hours and hours every day if that's what you want to do for a job. And I was like, nah, I know, but I'm enjoying it. So that was alright. I prepped the car, he painted it. Looked serious well. Wouldn't have been a show.
Do you
for
find
a
it's
kid
the
job,
sort of thing like, see, whenever you're prepping a car, maybe it's not the case, but it's very quick to see the progress, if that makes sense.
The whole thing sounds like hell.
That is. I thought it was a good idea, wasn't it? Not really.
No?
You start into prepping something and everything gets worse before it gets better.
Because all the dust.
But everything does get
Aye.
worse. Doesn't matter if you're tidying something up and someone, you have to rip everything out.
Surely it's when you're sanding it down and a hole suddenly appears.
You are really negative these days.
Well, you can
If
sort
you've owned as much shit as I have,
Well, stop buying so much shite.
when you've been doing it years, like you can sort of tell before you start into something what it's going to turn into. To a degree, obviously you can't see through the paint. You don't have X-ray vision. You don't know what's below it.
Some people probably do actually
Out of
expect you to have
curiosity.
that through Facebook.
Well, they do.
But that's a story for an hour.
Do
I think you've a crystal ball and you can just look in through it and there you know what's going on. Like.
is the likes of high end repair or like say painters, not like real fancy stuff, like measure paint depth and all that crack,
Well, you can see more so now.
or is that
A lot of. I wouldn't be a fan of the term detailers, and I'm going to get a lot of stick for this. Detailers and painters don't get on.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into it too much because I'll have a
You
lot
put
of
on
depth.
paint, they take it off.
This is it. you put on.
Kieran Riley is crying at the minute, but anyway.
You should be measuring the paint depth all the time because you can't have too much film building something, and that goes for the paint depth starts from your metal, and that goes right up if you filler on the panel, primers, base coat to clear coat. You need to be within a certain depth of that, really. Otherwise, you can end up with problems such as like stuff paint cracking down the line, or
Right, because it's applied too heavily and
it's too much product.
yeah.
And a lot of people don't know cars flex.
Yes.
Like-
And vibrate.
They vibrate. The metal flexes. Not as much. Like it's not visible, but
there's an art to it.
there is. But at the start, you should be measuring your paint depth and stuff, and till you know roughly. You're working with it every day. You sort of know how much to put on and stuff. You know.
Without being stupid, is it the case of, say you're in your spray booth and you're doing certain different panels, I don't know if this is the case or not, but whenever you're doing a panel, do you have to sort of make sure, right, or maybe you know by now just by doing it for so long, but in regards to like paint depth per panel and trying to get everything as even as possible?
Yes, it all starts from your prep. Like prep is, everyone says prep's 99% of it. Is maybe 85%, I would say, in your prep. Because if you start and you've bad prep work, nothing's going to turn out good from that. Like you prep it whatever way you do. Something's scuffed, you sand it down to below the scuff, and then you have your layers. It's like an onion. You'll have your metal, your primer, your paint, your clear coat.
So yeah, your dad obviously was like, look, Stevie, you want to be you're going to be doing this. So we know you get bored. Like you've decided you're taking some. You're like, oh yeah, there's a keeper, and then the next thing is up for sale.
Let's go.
And then it's like, okay, Stevie, well, here we are again. But so you obviously like, where did you go then? Did you go to the TAC then? Obviously,
I went to River Park in Mollusk.
Oh, right. I thought you went to Ballymena.
No, they. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think the NRC's not done.
Maybe not actually. I don't know.
The reason I went to River Park was it was a more sort of in-depth training course. Like.
Yes.
You needed. It was an apprenticeship, so you needed a job to get into the tech itself.
So did you have to have a job before you? Before you
I
even
went to the tech, yeah.
So where did you start?
I actually started in Sean Bradley's in Korean.
Yes.
He's now closed.
Yes.
He's retired himself. But I was only there 3 or 4 weeks, and the reason being was because he had another apprentice in, and there was only the two main boys in there. So he needed one to be doing bodywork and one to be doing painting itself.
Yes.
So there's a difference in the courses.
One's panel beating, technically.
Panel beating, pulling, stuff like that, you know, dent repairs and whatnot. But I want to be doing the painting one because you're still doing your prep. You're not doing the sort of chassis pulling and jigging and stuff like that, but you're doing all your prep and painting and stuff. So I always knew eventually I'd be going out my own, so that's what I needed. So that wasn't going to work there, so I went to James Wiley in Bushmills.
That's right. I knew, because I know you were at RG's for a while, but you were somewhere before RG's.
I was at James Wiley's before that. I was there most of my apprenticeship.
Yes.
How long did it last?
My apprenticeship?
Yeah.
Was it 2 years?
2 years.
It was 4.
No, see, there's because of the way that course worked, I can't really explain it. It was either 2 or 3 years. It was meant to be like a 3-year course, but you could do it in 2, sort of thing.
I fast track it.
Basically,
yeah.
As long as you done
the right modules.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
As long as you were progressing quick enough in what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I started with him. Really good place. Enjoyed it. What you class as my mentor, Johnny, he taught me a lot of stuff. Like, so we started there. Was at the tech. It was only the way the tech worked was luckily you weren't there every week. You were there for 3 or 4 days every 5 or 6 weeks. Sort of like a block
different
thing.
Compared to what mechanics know do, wouldn't it? Because I think they go a day a week.
I had a day a week, or sometimes maybe more. I don't exactly know. But
so no, it's the same with engineering apprenticeships. It's a day a week normally. Here,
that's why I went to River Park, because it's brought some very good painters from this country alone.
Right.
Went to the tech. It was, let's say, like the block sort of thing. You're up every 5 or 6 weeks, and then you were working the rest of it. So you're at your tech, learning your technical side of things. You're like what you would class as by the book stuff, like knowing how to work with certain stuff or what way to apply stuff.
Like your ratios for hardener till.
Well, you're learning that in work, obviously, because you're using data sheets and all to make sure you're doing it right. But you're there, you're learning your health and safety and all that, everything you need.
So like after you fast tracked. So after like 2 years, you say you done it in 2 years. Were you still with James Wiley, or did you?
No, I got an opportunity to work somewhere else that was going to work out pretty well for me. So
well, you were doing a lot of BMWs, a lot of Evos and stuff for that time.
I was doing a lot of the sort of cars I
wanted to do.
Yeah, that was an opportunity to work at sort of stuff that you want.
Yeah,
really,
that was at RG's, wasn't it? Yeah. That
was up there. So I was there for.
You were there for 3 or 4 years, weren't you?
Something like that.
But you like, because the stuff you were sending in the group chat at that time, like 325s, Evo 7s, and like it was, as you say, it was the type of stuff you the clientele basically you wanted to be working at. Did you? So let's.
Before we go on to that, I will say as well, I've been lucky enough from the very start of my apprenticeship. I had no real interest in like going to a big franchise sort of. Like
right accent repair or something.
Too much going on there. Like you're only doing the one thing. It's more or less like a, what would you say, like conveyor belt setup sort of thing. Like so you're sitting doing the same thing every day. I've been lucky enough to be working at everything from start to finish and progressing pretty quickly from when I started, because I had the help and because of small sort of family owned body shops.
Yes. So before we move on to, I suppose, your own business now, because you've now went out on your own, what advice would you give anyone? Like we have younger listeners, anybody young cubs that's interested in cars and don't want to do mechanicking, what would you give advice anyone who's thinking about getting into bodywork?
Don't.
Apart from that.
No, do. It's a good job. It's challenging mentally and physically.
Yeah, no two ways about it.
You're faced with no job is the same as the next. Like no matter what, it's not the same unless you're sitting working at brand new panels every day, all day. Definitely do it. It's good, but you have to be dedicated.
Yeah,
take your health and safety very serious, because that is a dangerous job.
Yeah, with the fumes and with the dust and
isocyanates, different chemicals, everything. Your PPE needs to be correct. Like,
I never ever thought I'd hear those words come out of your mouth, but
neither did I. But here we are. I've matured.
Have
now.
you had any fuck ups with PPE, like as in things maybe went wrong whenever you try to take a shortcut?
Oh, there's there's times there, like even simplest things, like opening a new jar of thinners or something, you hate to be very careful, like, because
first thing you're opening a jar of thinners, next thing you're in the ground.
well, everything's sealed up. Like, you know, if there's a bit of pressure or something, a bit of heat or something, you know, a metal jar will expand. You try to open something that can shoot up or
I
explode
got
out. Like,
one time, I got a paint stripper in my eye. That was good crack.
For young people maybe wanting to get into this job, definitely, like you say, physically and mentally challenging, but can be a very rewarding job at the end of it too. You know, you stand back and look at something maybe come in and it's riddled in dents, scratches, anything. You paint it, and you stand back and look at it, and then it's good to be pleased with yourself too. I'm not the best painter in the world. Like, you hate to admit that. Everyone has their mistakes, but definitely it's worthwhile doing. I
think a lot of painters, and I was going to ask you about the BM, because that's sort of where we all sort of tied in together. I think a lot of painters, and you see it with a lot of younger ones when they all start, and truthfully we've sort of seen it with you a bit as well, when you first started and you got onto things and you started getting through all the jobs, like your confidence is sky high.
Oh, you get cocky, like,
and then all of a sudden, like, you start learning.
You come back down to earth, you realise, like,
because, like, you know, you're saying, like, I'm not the best painter in the world, but like Stevie of 6 years ago would have been like, I done a really good job there. But like, it's not just you. Like, there's boys literally pick up a fucking rattle can and they're there's no better painter than me. And I think there's a lot to be said for that, because I think the painter that is critical of themselves, like you're a perfect example, like, who's sitting going, like, you know, every day you could always be doing a job a bit better. They're the boys that's going to actually paint the car properly, rather than fuck, I'll do Ridley, sure, I'm a good painter, everybody knows I'm a good painter, and hardly fucking matter, you know.
By fire on and out the door it goes. No, but, like, definitely you hate to come down to earth, like. Everyone makes mistakes. Runs is a big thing.
Yes,
everyone knows what a run is. Everyone gets them.
Yep.
If any painter tells you they don't get a run, they're lying. I've got them.
Can you sand them out? Can you flatten them out?
To a degree, aye. I've got some bad runs in my days. Like, what they say is, like, if you don't get a run, you're not trying hard enough.
Really?
Well, that's not really, but
I know what you mean. See, I suppose, like, the first car I really ever remember you spraying was a 316 5-door.
318.
Was that 318? I thought it was a 316. No,
318. Just
because it was a single cam, wasn't it? I think that's what I thought it was, a 316.
Was she M3 kit it, or did you just put the M3 kit on her?
No, I bought that car completely standard from.
That's sort of where I kind of started to know you properly from. That's when we all started becoming friends. Was that? And you painted that yourself?
That's when I was doing my apprenticeship, and I wanted a project. I always wanted an E36 as well.
I love that car.
Love E36s, always have done, and I still do, and I will to forever. Like, but obviously, it was an apprenticeship. I was on apprentice wage, not great back then. I think
still probably not now.
It's probably not back then. I was getting £132 a week.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is now.
But it's £500 a month. It's not exactly great. Like
and that was I was driving all the time too.
Aye, so that was getting you. That was your fuel.
That was getting you to work and back, insuring, tax, maintaining the car, and trying to have a life. Like, that's not good. But managed to save up a wee bit of money. That car came up really, really cheap.
It was like £350, wasn't it?
350, I think you're right. I think it was.
Yeah.
It was an old fellow owned it. He owned it for a lot of years. It was advertised as very, very rough, and I thought, I'll buy it and I'll do it as a drift car.
Yes.
And I think, was it Cref went out with me, I think, to get it that night.
May have been Cref.
He took me out. Anyway, looked at it, pitch black in the dark. Always loved 5-door E36 as well.
Yes.
Because everyone has 3 doors. I just wanted to be a bit different. I like being a bit different. So went out and looked at it. All the usual bits, arches, sills, surprisingly not too bad on it. Back arches were clean rotten out of it.
That's standard.
E36. Them bits. From what I could see in below, I thought it was a bit scabby. I didn't think it was too bad. But at the end of the day, I was buying it. I wasn't going to be a road car. Got it home anyway. Seen it in the daylight next day. Looked down below it, jacked it up, checked all the usual bits that they go, jacking points, the arms, strut tires in the front too, inside, and realised how long I'm at. This thing's actually pretty good. Like, it needs the usual outer repairs, but the inners and stuff was all good, and then below it was pretty good. So I was like, you know what, I can do this as a project. So stuck into it, and I mean, it took me a long time. I got that car really sickened me, like, because I was learning everything on that car, as well as still learning. That's pretty early on.
It was metallic. It's not even 2-pack paint.
No, like, I don't an Astro Blue.
Yeah. Because I remember you got it just ready, more or less, just before Donegal Rally 2017.
I wouldn't even say it was ready, because it wasn't.
And you had to get me to drive behind you because you'd have welded diff.
I did. Welded diff.
That wouldn't
so, at what time of the year did you get it?
Time of the year now. I think it was maybe.
You got around Christmas, didn't you?
I think it was near my sister's birthday, so I think that was October time, but I might be wrong there because I can't remember her birthday now.
Yes.
I think it was around her birthday time.
Anne probably doesn't listen, but Jack does, so you're probably dead.
Probably. I'm rubbish with birthdays anyway, but it was around that time. I know it was October, November, sometime around. I
remember you bought it like around like the winter. I can remember that
because I had. Did I get that car out for the rally coming up after that? Did I?
You had it out for 2017.
Did I?
Yeah.
I was wearing it that year.
Because that was the year we had the Chaser, the Sierra, Adam's Lexus, and
S15.
It's 2018.
Jack's, no, that was Jack's S15.
Jack's S15. Was it there?
Yeah.
Oh, it was standard. It had it with the bigger horsepower the year after. That's right.
I know. It was wrapped and all that year.
But because the three of us, we all stayed out in Creaslot.
Yes.
Because that was the year.
Spot up there.
Huh?
Love that spot up there.
Unreal. Bradley's Cottage it was called, wasn't it?
It was,
That was the year I tried to reverse down the drive and blew out the arch in the Sierra.
Was that the year as well there was someone rented the house beside us?
Yes.
And they had a 306 and trailed the diesel line off it or something outside the house?
That was
or was that the year after?
Jetta.
Was it Jetta, was it?
Yes, it was a Jetta. And he trailed the
Because I mean,
line
we
off
stayed
it.
in that house.
You stayed in it 2 years in a row.
Did I stay in that before we all stayed in that? Or
I think you stayed in it after. You stayed in it the year you had the purple Lexus and you drove everywhere around Donegal with the back of it on a recovery lorry.
Yes, because I
didn't have.
Not just the back of it, Michael. The whole car.
It wasn't MOT, taxed or insured, and I wanted that car at the rally.
Yes.
So I took it up in the lorry.
Yes. So you were driving everywhere because I can remember going places and it's like, how long? And you were driving the car off the recovery lorry, going and doing something. How long? Right, wait. Pulling in the apple green in the recovery lorry and the Lexus in the back. Because I came in with you till Letterkenny Carton.
That's right, I was in King of the Cone and the Carton Centre.
You were in King of the Cone, I think, on the Sunday, but I think you done Letterkenny Carton on the Saturday.
You could be right. I think I done King of the Cone on the Friday as well.
Maybe. You did.
I think I did. But
great times.
We sort of went a wee bit forward there from the BM.
Yes, so you bought it around October, November. And so what all work did you roughly have to do to her?
It got new arches, 2 new rear arches welded into it. I can't weld at that time, so I got the fella I was doing my apprenticeship with, Johnny, my mentor. He welded the arches on it for me, and he left that really, really good. That it needed next to no filler, which is what you want to do.
Yeah.
So I needed the rear arches on it. It needed one wee patch. I can't remember where it was. The sills and all were right and good on it. I think it was maybe the outside of it or something, but the side skirt was covering it anyway. It needed one wee bit there. Like maybe it was only like a size of 50p or something. But I got that done. Picked up an M3 kit and stuff for it. Well, M3 kit. I'm calling it that, and that annoys me when I call it that because there aren't M3 kits. They're just M Sport kits.
Was it a 318 IS came with them from factory?
Yep.
All sports came with it.
Yeah.
That was the last of the M cars that was the same body as a non-M.
Yeah.
Yeah, because after the E46 then obviously
they started getting wider, so I got that. I actually borrowed a set of sunflowers for it for the rally.
That's right.
I had them on that a brave while because he lent me them for a long, long time.
That's right. I remember you didn't even own the wheels in the car.
No, I
you
did
had
not.
like a set of the not multi-spoke, just economy spec.
I was whatever wheels came on. I was like early 15s or something. 15s it would have been. was.
It was 15. Maybe 16s.
No, it was 15s.
I think you're right, actually.
So I came on them. Bored wheels because, I say, I had no money. I was broke. I'm near sure my dad actually lent me a bit of money at that time as well to get that car finished and get it on the road. Which I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for my dad. Like, he's done so much for me. But coilovers, just the usual stuff, you know. And obviously I had to have a welded diff because I couldn't get a slip for it. And I wasn't driving about on it with an open diff. I
think, because I remember you were saying to me about me bringing down an open diff for you in case you had to change it.
As soon as the car got finished up, I think it got finished up. I got it MOT'd on the did we go to the rally on the Thursday?
You went down I think maybe on the Thursday. And I was supposed to go down along with you, and then I had cattle broke out, and I couldn't go down the Thursday night, so I had to come down. I think I came down the Saturday. Me and Adam drove down together on the Saturday. That's where it was, and then I met you in.
Well, it was the Wednesday night. Then that car I'd just finished building it on the Tuesday night. Everyone back in together. That car was completely stripped. Every European cars, you need to strip them to do it right. Every rubber, handle, seal, everything was off that car. It was bare. So I just finished building it on the Tuesday night. Managed to get an MOT. This was before there was a big thing about MOTs. Managed to get an MOT for the Wednesday afternoon. Got the car insured, surprisingly cheap. I think, what would I have been, 18? 19?
No, 18. If
18.
even.
I couldn't believe that I got it insured. Like, I was trying, and the insurance wasn't much more than what 19. I was driving before.
You weren't it? No, 18.
I had the 106 at the point. I had the E36 because I needed something to drive about on while I bought it.
Did you not have a 320D at one stage too?
That was my dad's.
Did you not heat seize it?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure I remember the Snapchat.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was. Do you mind the Snapchat? I was driving down the road.
Heat seizing an engine?
Michael.
But basically, just she gets so warm. She just
burnt valves out.
She gets so warm that the pistons just
you were driving easy
actually
then?
move.
I take it.
It's more of a thing with two-stroke said.
It was more the fact that car needed free injectors. Yeah, and I was driving about and needing free injectors, and then
yeah.
So I had that. There was. Do you mind the Snapchat I sent? I was driving down the road one day and I looked in the mirror and I was like, "What the fuck's that hanging at the back of this thing?" I was like, "Did I run over something?" Pulled out the side of the road. It blew it looked like there was about 10 meters worth of you would have swore black horsehair hanging out of the exhaust.
Yeah.
It was the whole insides of all the baffles.
Yes, I remember
just
that.
hanging out of it.
I remember that.
Driving down the road and then next thing not long after that heat seized. But
I remember you were trying to drive it up a hill and it just had no power. And you were literally screaming, "Go!" Because it was literally the injectors were fucking hanging in it. It wouldn't go anywhere.
There was 230,000 mile in that car or something.
Yes, something like that.
But I was only my dad's workhorse, but he lent me it at the time as well.
I bet he regretted doing that.
Yes, he did. That car ended up getting broke. But where were we at?
So you were
got it ready on. Say, got the MOT on the Wednesday. Took it to work with me on the Wednesday. Tested, make sure the diff was working.
Of course.
On the private crossroad down there near my work.
Yes.
So
it's all private around there.
That whole area is private. It's mad.
Jealous.
As people with a lot of money and buy a lot of land around there. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Apart from me. But, so
they just give you permission.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're very kind and generous down them areas. We like sharing.
That's why everybody that comes on here, everybody around them's so generous.
It's just another friendly bunch of people. That's all it is. But
just where three roads happen to meet, they just someone gifted.
Some people even get gifted the motorway as well.
That's mad. But this country's not as bad as people think.
No, it's like I'll tell you a fun fact. Sure, the police put up a post there, and it was about somebody doing a 3-point turn in a van on the motorway.
Yes, I seen that. That's right.
I've done a 3-point turn in the motorway in the Polo before.
But that was on the private motorway.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. See, that's the difference. That fella never got the landowner's permission.
Exactly. He just done it in the middle of the day.
He didn't ask.
I'm near sure it was. I was like in a Motorfest or something at where like the Icon Centre did a
Yes.
there was a show on there like years ago, and I wasn't hanging.
Hold on a minute. Why were you doing a 3-point turn on the motorway?
Yeah, why were you doing a 3-point turn
So,
on the motorway?
if I can remember correctly, I was down there. I can't mind who it was with. But anyway, their car the battery kept dying or something on it. And then it fucking ended up doing it on the motorway. So I had to jump start them. So I turned the car around.
That's
And
really
we
dodgy.
jump start them. But I didn't really never really drive around Lisburn and that, because I never needed to be down there before. So I'm near sure it was just off the M1. But
Yeah,
we
it
were only
would've
on
been,
for like 2 seconds.
There you go.
So you know.
So
E36.
yes, E36. Tested it on that private section of Crossroad,
Of course.
and that was the first time really having a rear-wheel drive car on the road.
Yes.
And I just thought this was great.
Yes.
So that was alright. Went to Donegal the next day. As soon as we come in, the roundabout there at
The Dry Arch or
is
the
a dry arch
Polestar?
called, where the Mark II sits on top of the petrol station, just before the King of the Cone, that roundabout.
Aye, that's the Dry Arch.
That roundabout there. Was coming around that, and skipping and everything else.
Skibbity hop.
The badge blew off the bonnet straight away. Can't remember what I stuck it on with. Obviously nothing, apparently. It must have just said it. So the badge blew off the bonnet, and I knew from there on, I was like, yep, right, this car wasn't ready to go. Went round, done a lap of the town. Went down, this is before they closed it all off back then, went down, took the left down by that tyre centre through. You go down Main Street and you go left. There's where the speed bump is.
Yep.
And of course, this must have been the Thursday. What was standing there, guarded checkpoint. Can't remember who was in front. Was it Cref?
Cref and the Chaser.
So the Chaser, loud as fuck,
She had the egg.
sailed on through.
Yeah.
Did not care. BM coming up, buried. I hadn't been driving on the road, so I didn't realise how low it was, because obviously this was just the second day. Got the speed bump, guard it, stepped out. Something wrong with your car there, son? I says, He says, it's a bit low. I says, look, I only got this car on the road yesterday. I was like, I haven't drove it yet, didn't realise it was low. And he says, right. But just before that, I turned that corner and it was skipping as well. Obviously around the corner because of the diff.
Yep.
And then that's when we got up to the speed bump, scoped over it. He stepped out and then he said about pulling into the tyre centre. And I was like, I am fucked already. But he ended up not making me turn in. So he's like, right, okay, the benefit of the doubt, on you go. Just don't be fucking about, keep it between the hedges, he said. I'll never forget them words that he said, keep it between the hedges. I was like, right, that's maybe not going to be too bad. So went on around anyway.
He knew what you were there to do.
Yes, he did. I was very young then too. Look.
It's more like, just don't let me see you doing it.
Yeah.
Those were, I honestly think they were the glory years of Donegal.
Oh, they were.
They were the best years of Donegal.
That's why I shaped sail after that, because there was a win more checkpoints and stuff.
I
and
made
was
you
thinking,
sending me a message going,
I just got this car on the road. I don't want it. I need my licence. I couldn't even, at the time, obviously you were only allowed 6 points. I was like, if I get stopped, I've lost the books.
Straight.
So that's why I was saying about getting a diff up. But then I ended up just deciding, fuck it.
I can't remember if I even left it a diff.
No, there was something, I think you were ready away or something.
No, I think it was to do with the fact the cattle broke out.
Or maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
So after the BM, how many cars then did you do on your own before you actually went out?
Before I
on
set
your
up my business.
Yeah.
Just the BM and the Lexus. Just them two. You would think you would want to paint a lot in every car you own.
It's like a mechanic never fixes his own cars.
No, I've had great plans and stuff to do stuff to cars and I just never do it.
Yeah, you had that silver Lexus that you turboed,
I did, yes.
and then you had big plans for it,
I did have big plans
and
for
then you
that.
blew the engine.
No, well, I blew the engine before it was properly finished.
Oh, yeah,
because I actually gave it to an old friend of mine to take it to clean it, and he's like, I don't want to drive this car because you haven't drove it yet and it's not set up right. And I was like, it'll be alright, sure, you're only taking it down the road. Took it down the road. I was out that night, I got a phone call. I knew, I seen his name come up on my phone. I was like, he's ringing me, something's happened to this car. I knew straight away. Landed up, threw the rod out. So
it wasn't you threw the rod in it?
no.
I thought it was you.
Nope. I wish it was me, because I didn't know one was driving it hard. But I don't know, I think it was something to do with the turbo had the actuator. There was about 1 million washers.
She basically didn't open. She didn't open the wastegate.
Aye.
She didn't open the internal wastegate.
It was fully boosting.
Aye.
Like, I was just boosting as hard as it could.
Aye. It was like, I think, did we not work it out? It was like 15 PSI.
The wrong spring was in the external wastegate and all too.
We worked it out something like 15 PSI, which is a bar of boost, and them engines really shouldn't go past like 0.7.
I hear boys using like 11 PSI. I don't know what that is in bar.
But 0.75.
But whatever it is, that's sort of the limit on them. Like,
aye. Yeah, you were 1 bar.
Aye.
Yeah.
But no, I had that car and had big plans for it. So that engine blew, got another engine for it, got it running and all. Got it set up decently. I was still running the standard ECU. Obviously, there's not much setting up you can do, just adjust it.
You were using RX-8 injectors, was it? Or
no,
MR2 injectors?
1ZZs.
1ZZs, yeah.
I don't know what they come in originally.
I thought they were RX-8s.
Maybe they are. I could be wrong now. I just know
there were
1ZZ
injectors in it. 1ZZ might MR2 maybe. Can't remember.
Something like that anyway. But anyway, so I was driving it for a while. Driving it, I was having fun on it for what did I drive that car? Maybe 4 months as a daily, and every day it was tested to its limits and its capabilities.
Yes,
and it was very well. And then I had all these big plans to do to it, and then I parked it up at my dad's, and it lay there for 9 months, and I forgot to wash the salt off it, and it was already starting to go.
Yeah.
And then when I went back to it, I could look up inside it, and I was like, I'll just get rid of this. But I was going to make my own at that point and all too, and I could have done with the extra money and stuff to start up my equipment, like. So I was like, well, we just cut my losses now and get rid of it.
So then you obviously went from working in a body shop and then sort of said, right, well look, I can make something of this. You'd built your own clients kind of nearly in there, kind of off the back of that, I suppose, because you were doing a lot of the work at that stage as well.
Aye.
Not trying to run anything down.
No, to be fair to my old boss, like, he let me at night time and stuff there footer at my own stuff.
Yeah, because you done my 207 during that time, I'm near sure.
Aye, that was been a long time before that again. That memory actually came up in my Snapchat the other day. I think that was maybe 5 years ago.
It was more than that.
Was it more?
More than that. More than that.
Would have been no.
Well, my sister was in Manchester and a taxi driver drove into her. So when the car come home from Manchester, had the big dinge in the back quarter panel, and then I get you to fix it.
Yep. So he was always writing good to me. Like, he'd let me tear away at night time and stuff and do my own bits and pieces. So, as you say, like, I built up a bit of clientele. Sort of, I wouldn't say recognised. Don't like saying that. You know what I mean. I had my own sort of customers. Do more friends and stuff. I was doing. I wasn't advertising for work. Like, it was just maybe the odd job now and again, just for a wee bit of extra money. Because obviously the weighing that was coming along at that point too.
That's right.
So a bit of extra money.
Because you done my A4 as well, didn't you?
Did I do your A4?
Yeah, my white A4.
Oh, the wings or something, wasn't it?
Wings and
quarter.
I burnt the paint off on them because of the big white TTRSs on. Aye, good times.
Yeah. No, so.
And I tried painting it myself, and literally it was like you could see where I had taped it, and it literally was like a layer. You could literally feel.
You cut your finger on it. You cut your finger on the edge of it. I built up a bit of clientele and that, and then obviously you never know what's going to happen when you try to set up your own business. You don't know how much work you're going to get around when you start advertising. So I went out. I was lucky enough, our friend Cref.
Yep.
Obviously he is a car dealer, so he always gave me bits and pieces because obviously we scuffs and stuff needing tidied up. So I was always had a wee bit of steady work there from him. And then just as sort of people talking to each other and all, it just spiraled up, and I started getting more and more business, and I've been lucky enough I didn't really have to advertise much.
Yeah, I've never really seen you doing a wild pile
That's
advertising.
something I need to start doing this year now, more so.
You think so?
I need to be a bit more active on my social media, I think.
See,
it's just hard to see the admin that's...
But I was chatting to a fella who does a wee bit of contracting, right? An agricultural contracting. He says he never posts, and he's always busy. Because he says when you post, that's when the boys who have like maybe fucked off the boys that were doing the work. They were getting to do the work because they maybe never paid them or something. He says you'll get more riff-raff advertising. But then I suppose at the same time you need to be known. So
a lot of it comes from word of mouth.
Yeah.
Like you do a good job for someone, they're going to say to someone else, or if someone.
Do you know anyone that can paint a wing in that car? I should take it to Stevie McMullen there.
He done my car or whatever, you know.
So you obviously now you've got your own place, but before that, so you left where you were previously working. You started working from the home place.
I was lucky enough. My dad had garages at the house.
Yes.
He used to do a bit of mechanic and footing about and stuff.
Yes,
and back whenever I was younger, footing at cars and stuff.
Yeah, so he sold me his lift.
He did, because I needed the room.
Yes.
And two-poster just wasn't fitting that garage like with what I needed to do, obviously.
Yeah. And he just couldn't be arsed doing any more mechanicking.
No, it's not that he couldn't be arsed. He just sort of gave up doing mechanicking brave many years ago. Like, say what he does now, he doesn't need to get his hands dirty anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Them days are by him, like, you know. So I went out there. One fight, there's a lot of money in starting up. Like, it's not just a matter of getting a garage and starting painting cars. Like,
which I think a lot of people just think, oh, I'll get myself a space and
I'll just start painting cars.
Yeah, like you have the bottom shed, and then you also have the wee small garage which you'd like converted into the spray booth.
Mm-hmm.
Even you put an extractor system and all in it.
That's it. Like, my dad actually, I was lucky enough. My dad's handy. Like, he's good with his hands and stuff. Like not building, but he's
good at putting things together. I've noticed that.
Like, to give it a go, and he's good at it all too. And to be fair, my ma as well. She helped a bit as well. She's good at sort of, what would you say, construction-y sort of like
putting things
measurements
together.
And stuff.
Yeah.
She's good at all
just
that.
Working out.
On, like,
working out.
So them two built my wee booth that I have been using now for a long time. Or I've been using for a while now. They built that. I, from working in spray booths and whatnot, know what way you hit a certain airflow and stuff.
Yes.
And you can't, like I was saying, you can't just spray on a garage. You need certain conditions. Mm-hmm. You need to watch your humidity levels. You need your temperature, dust,
yep.
everything and everything needs to be. If you're just spraying the garage, your fumes are just going out and overspray.
And there are boys who would come into the shed like this here and go, we'll wet the floor, put a thing up, and probably in theory could do a good enough job, but you couldn't do that repeatedly. You could do that once,
and it's the longevity of the jobs.
Yes.
You might get lucky and it might last, but the chances are you're going to get moisture in that paint job.
Micro blister and all starts
down the line. Something's going to go wrong with it. So from working in the spray booths and that in previous jobs, sort of put together right and good custom paint booth with a lot of boys would use a blow heater and stuff in, which is blowing around dust and dirt. I managed to work out a system to get heat ducted in through the roof, through filters and whatnot, the same way a full spray booth would be working.
Yes.
So it's coming in there, and what you would call is a semi-downdraft paint booth, which is your heat and your air's coming in through the roof, and it's extracting out the back wall or front wall, wherever. So built that, put that together, and I was saying about your humidity levels and all that there. I have gauges and stuff in the booth to
so you've all the information there.
Because you go in there, say like, especially now during this sort of weather we're having at the minute, you go in there, condensation everywhere.
Yeah.
So you preheat the booth and preheat the car and everything, and make sure your humidity levels have dropped way down before you can start painting.
As you say, it's all about repeatability, because anybody could probably spray a car on a dry summer's day.
I take it more or less no humidity at all.
Well, you'll not completely get rid of humidity, because obviously
but ideally, basically dry heat is what you want.
Aye. Really, I don't know what the book levels of painting humidity is, but I always try and keep my humidity below 15%.
Okay.
That's ample enough for what you're doing, like.
For you to get the results that you need.
Yeah, I know it lasts and whatever. The other thing is as well, I was saying about the equipment and all, a lot of people think you just get a compressor and you've got air and you just put it into your paint gun. No, you need air dryers, or what people class as a fridge for your compressor, which dries your air, gets rid of moisture. You need water traps, dropout filters, and again, you need to be having. It's a lot of work now to see. You need to have certain distance between your filters and stuff and all too.
Yes.
And I've seen people maybe not using that and do an unreal paint job, but then a year later, micro blisters.
Yes.
Or frost hits it, and next thing, it's gotten like seeing a real good job just turned to nothing. That needs completely stripped back to bare metal.
I think that's that's really what it comes down to, is people can have, as I say, anyone can paint a car on a summer's night, you know, a good dry 2 or 3 weeks, wet the floor, dust it down or whatever, and you'll get a good enough job, but it's the long term effects.
There really is a science to it. Like, at the end of the day, yes, you're working with chemicals, because realistically, paint thinners, hardener, all that there is chemicals. But like, it's funny, as you say, like, spraying the car is like the last finishing touch technically, but as you say, the prep and everything for the conditions to do it. Like, I always wondered, why the fuck would anybody need a spray booth? You know, but now whenever you say it, it's like,
even again, when it comes down to when you first bring that car in and start prepping it, again, humidity has a lot to play in everything. If you sand, the minute you sand through your clear coat, you've basically opened up a sponge.
Yes.
More or less, that's the easiest way of describing it. You've opened up a sponge that will suck in moisture. So if you put any fillers or anything on that panel, if it's not sealed off and it gets wet or it gets damp or anything, that moisture is going to be below your paint.
What way does that work then with a 2-pack paint? Because 2-pack you don't clear coat.
2-pack is a commercial paint. It's the easiest way of describing it is there's like a clear coat in it. Basically.
Yeah.
Your colour is commercial. I wouldn't be the most technical person to be going into stuff like that and explaining the science behind it all. I just know how the products work.
Yes.
But
no, in simple terms, it's essentially,
if you can explain it simply, that's nearly easier.
It's making your base coat shiny, and it's class as 2-pack because you have your hardener to mix into it, which is the same way your clear coat is. You have your clear coat and your hardener to mix in. Why it's actually called 2-pack, I think that's the old term for it, because it's technically called 2K gloss.
Yes, and then you've got single pack as well, which apparently is a nightmare to work with.
Single pack is like your older cellulose and stuff maybe like
old tractors and
stuff like that, and some very old cars and stuff.
Meant to be a hateful thing to work with.
I done a time, there was a tractor. All I know is it was a tractor. It was small and it was a tractor, but I was getting the whole thing painted. Good arse there. It was getting painted grey. Was it Massey Ferguson or something?
Probably a Fergie. Grey Fergie.
They brought, there was a cellulose paint, I think it was. Jeez, that's hard to work with. I don't know how you boys do it. Fair play to them.
What makes it so hard to work with? Does it just run easily? Does it?
No, it's like
too thick,
sticky, thick.
Aye.
And like,
I was going to ask that, but then I was like, no, he'll laugh at me.
Funny.
I don't really know how to describe it because I don't use it.
Out of curiosity, the single pack paint, right? So, the walls of milk powders now, to leave them handy, the more or less you put paint on them. But like whenever we put the paint and then the hardener into it, we literally had half an hour to work with it before it
starts hardening.
Yes, and whenever it hardened, say you'd left the bucket and not there for a week, you come back, you could literally peel the paint off and lift out, and it was like silicone.
Right.
Is that the way? If you had, say, 3 litres of one
single pack
paint, if you left it there over time, would it turn into like nearly like a silicone sort of material, like a rubbery silicone sort of material?
Gummy.
Yes,
I would class it as like sort of chewing gummy or something. Like if you could sort of, if you mashed it up, it would turn into like a gunk, more or less.
Why are we not allowed to spray WD-40 or anything with silicone in your prep shed?
Silicone is the bane of my life.
Aye, because I remember I was trying to do something one time in the Sierra when it was at yours, and you were like, don't fucking spray that. And I was like, why? And then you were saying there's no silicone allowed in your prep shed at
No,
all.
you can't have any silicone-based products or anything near paint.
Why?
The minute silicone, WD-40 and all that sort of stuff, and silicone goes airborne. Like, you'll not see it, but it'll be floating about in the air, and it could be lingering for a long time, landing on panels or anything. As soon as paint hits silicone, it doesn't agree with it. It's like water and oil. It doesn't mix.
Yes, okay.
So the minute it does that, you get what you call craters or fish ice.
Yes.
And you end up with big sort of craters.
Basically,
all over
you're spraying a car, and then maybe you end up spraying on top of the WD-40,
like
and it doesn't spray.
Well, if you had a bit of oil in your finger and you dabbed it into a thing of water, that'll sort of separate. It's the same sort of principle. I was putting, if it lands on the panel, you put paint on it, it won't go to that area, it'll go around it. And that's what creates your crater, your fisheye.
So, what, like...
That's a big problem for anything. See, especially tire slicks and all that other stuff, it is full of silicone. The minute a car comes in with tire slick on, TFR all over the wheels to get it all off, around the tires, rubbers, everything. Because if even if you're not painting around that area, if you could rub a bit your plastic sheet and you put over the car, if it touches that and drags it onto the panel, you're going to have the same problem. And you can clean it as much as you like. Sometimes you'll be alright and you get it off. Other times, the minute you hit it with paint, you just see basically your reaction.
You're like, oh, right, and then it's back to bare metal more or less nearly.
It's not back to bare metal, it's just a big cleaning spray that you could have something in there taped up and you just put the first coat of paint onto it and it's just reacted because of silicone. You're having to strip all that back off, clean everything with thinners, then demask and clean up the area around it or whatever, you know.
Out of curiosity, Stevie, yes, now we're going back to like, so back in the days when you had like Need for Speed and you were putting on paint on the cars and that, and you had like gloss, metallic, flip, all these different types of paint. What is the biggest bastard to work with? Or what is, like, what's the difference in metallic versus gloss when you're painting it?
Well, your metallic is basically metal in your paint.
Oh,
it's like a flake.
Oh, so it's flake.
Your metallic is like metal flakes in your paint. Static is a big part to play with that there. If obviously the more you rub at a car and touch them, well, you're creating static. So you're creating that static charge, and if you go to spray a metallic paint, obviously the metal and static is going to lie. It's going to make it set up more or less. The difference between your metallics and your mattes and all, if you're saying what's the worst one to work with,
yeah,
I would go as far to say most of these, well, not most of them, but you see a lot of newer cars now coming in matte or satin finishes.
Okay, yeah.
That's one of the worst. You can't.
I thought all the Reynolds would have been the worst colours to work with.
Them free-stage pearls and stuff, they're a nightmare to match, because there's pigments in them that fade under UV light, which is your sun. So that's why that sort of stuff fades.
Yes.
Same with red, clear coat delamination, lacquer peel. It's the pigment in the paint and the UV damaging it, and then that's why that happens.
So technically, if someone was to have a red
from
car,
your clear coat, like
someone was to say have a red car and they want it to reduce the chances of lacquer peel, is it all to do with store it and reduce the UV, or try
pretty much, newer clear coats and stuff nowadays have a lot more UV protection on them, so your clear coats will have that. Back maybe years ago, cheaper clear coats even now won't have as much. That's why
all Vauxhalls fade and fucking go shite,
but even
old Peugeots as well tend to do.
Sort of the same principle of cheaper's not better. Some people think some boy maybe £200 cheaper is going to be, he can maybe paint really well, he can maybe do a really good job, but he's using cheaper products, and that's going to come back later down the line and hunt you like. That's why for me, I find a product that works, and I've used it now for years, and I haven't changed from it because I know I've seen it first hand results. Like,
so who would be your preferred brand for the likes of paint or anything like that then? Or
well, what I use a lot of the beer stuff at the minute.
Okay.
Now I use that because I can get it locally.
Uh-huh.
So I get a lot of it from Paints Components, Balmoney there.
Yeah, it's just...
You get... It's classed as A, B and C brand paint manufacturers. Like, obviously you have your higher brands, but it's not feasible for day-to-day stuff. Maybe your higher end show cars and stuff, you'd use something more like that. But as I say,
money's no object.
Yeah, but the average person isn't looking to be paying show car finished job money. Like, say
satin or matte, they don't have lacquer on them, or what way do they work paint?
No, you can get matte and satin clear coats to put over the top, so you're still your colour, and it's similar principle to painting a red car. You're painting your red, then you're clear coating after. Your satin can be the same, and your matte, but the difference is with a matte compared to your gloss, you can't denib or polish a matte car. If you get a speck of dust, you will get a speck of dirt in a paint job, but you can flatten and buff it out.
Yeah.
And it'll not. By the time it's buffed up, you'll never know when it was there because it's gone. You get that in satin or matte, it's repaint because you're not getting out of there.
So you technically would need to have sort of like a vacuum room, just so
because a vacuum is actually worse. Because if you go into a vacuumed room, as soon as the minute you go to go out of it, you've created a vacuum in there. As soon as you open a door or any gap, it's just pulled in.
How do you minimise the chances?
You have to balance your pressure in the your booth.
Oh,
so you have a positive and negative pressure. You need to balance that. So you need to find your.
You don't realise how much science is in painting until you actually talk about painting cars.
This is to try and minimise dirt and everything else. You get your static guns and all too. Stat guns you call it.
Yes.
And again, that's another thing. Don't ask me how they work because I am no scientist and I do not know. But I know they take static off the panel.
I've always been told, not least by yourself, but actually spraying a car and actually applying the paint, there is a serious art to it. Is it to do with the distance between your gun and the panel? Is it being consistent, or what way?
A bit of everything.
I feel like consistency is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, you need to be consistent with, again, your spraying conditions, your temperature, your humidity. You sort of every stage you're maybe at a couple of degrees of difference, but the likes if you paint a car in 18 degrees and then you paint a panel for that car in 22 degrees,
you'd probably notice a difference.
You'll see a difference because the way the paint's lying on it. Yeah. Obviously the warmer panel or colder panel and stuff. Your gun control has a lot to do with it as well. Over time, that's like anything, you do it long enough, you're just doing the same thing anyway. Yeah. You know your angles, and you need to keep a certain distance between the panel.
See, I think it'd be a lot easier to paint, like, say, the middle of a door compared to, like, down at the sills. Because it's nearly out of sight, out of mind at the sills. You don't see it as easily. So I feel like that's the bit you can fuck up on there.
That's where your coverage and stuff comes into play. Yeah. Painting the car is not just put one coat of paint on it and you're done. Like, yeah, different colours. You need to use certain colour primers below certain colours, that's right. And that affects your final colour. You have, as what you were saying about your cover or down the skirts and stuff, the sills. If you're maybe not thinking about them as much, you could put paint on, but you'd be a further distance away. Aye. And it's affecting your coverage. You take it out to the sunlight. As soon as the sunlight hits it, you'll see a primer for it.
Yeah, you'll see a difference.
But you do get things to help you with that, which sun guns and certain lights and stuff. That's another thing. You need certain colour lights in the spray booth and whatnot too to help with your colour matching. You're more or less trying to mimic sunlight.
White light's
not sunlight, daylight.
White light would nearly be the least forgiving, wouldn't it? Because I can remember we went to a car show many moons ago. I think it was Districts, and there's a Lamborghini Gallardo there. I don't remember if you were there for that, but basically this car it was the old B&Q warehouse in Belfast in the Boucher Road, and they had the whole place turned into a car show. And like outside to the naked eye, this Gallardo looked absolutely bang on. They brought it, parked it in the shed. Every panel was a different colour.
Was it yellowy lights? Yeah. Was it? That's, like the old street lights, the old what do you call them? Yellowy. No, they weren't halogens. Something else you called them lights.
UV? Not UV.
No.
I don't know.
Whatever it is, I know. The yellowy lights.
It's the same as the ones I have up in the yard.
If you park something below that, like that you just painted a door on or something, you would very highly notice it depending on what colour it is.
As a painter, how do you react to people when they send you a WhatsApp message or a Facebook message just going, hey, can you paint this bumper in my car? How much?
You can tell more or less by the messages whether someone's actually needing something done or they're just trying to see what you're going to charge for something.
Time wasting.
Most of the time, I'll take photos and stuff to look at first. Sometimes you can, if it's something maybe similar to what you've done before, you'll sort of know, a rough price in mind, sort of thing, but every bit of damage is different to the next, so you can't be exactly sure. You can give a rough sort of figure for your picture, depending on what it is, obviously, but you need to have a lot of good photos.
What's the most ridiculous request you've ever had through Facebook or WhatsApp or any of them? Just something that you've looked at and just went, how can I quote that?
I've had people send me. That's the thing. A lot of people, they don't realise either, but the general day-to-day public, they don't know any better.
Okay,
they're not working.
Good save.
I've had someone before zoomed way into a dent, and it was zoomed right in just a dent, and I had no idea what panel or anything it was. And I'm pretty sure I had one actually that was taken from, I think they were sitting inside their house and they'd taken it out the window and zoomed way across the car park, and took a photo of their car and was asking how much to fix, and
couldn't even see the damage.
No, I don't know what it was. Most of the time now, people, well, if they know where you are, they'll call out to get a price, or I'll tell them they need to come out with the car to get a price. That's sort of how you weed out your time wasters as well. If someone's genuine or serious about it, they'll come out and see you.
Yep. Have you ever had anyone ever come to you about work, and then you've given them a price, you give them a quotation, spent all this time going through, and then they've turned around and went, no, such and such can do it cheaper, so I'm going to go to them?
Oh, you get it all the time.
And have you ever seen anyone that's done that and
then came back afterwards and realised, he was cheaper for a reason?
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Any, obviously not name names, but generically, what have you seen? Is there any examples of that you've seen?
I've seen someone before they'd reversed into something with their bumper, whatever it was, cracked it anyway. They'd dented the quarter panel at the same time, broke a taillight, I think it was. Came for a price, gave them a price, wrote up the estimate, parts, blah blah blah. Didn't hear from them for a while. Then it was maybe a month later I heard from them, and then they'd sent me a photo, and I could already see that someone had, I don't know what they'd done, but it was beyond repair what they'd done to the bumper. So I think they realised then why my price was slightly dear.
What other ridiculous requests do you get as a painter? Because you deal with the general public, as you say, a lot of people don't really actually understand what they're asking half the time.
9 times out of 10, the general public's normally alright to deal with. They say people aren't in the cars, they don't know any better. They've maybe hit the car and they bring it out to you. You give them a price, they might think it's pretty high, but it's only a matter of breaking it down a wee bit for them, sort of explaining a bit of what it is. It's not just a matter of, you see all these YouTube videos and TikToks of people pushing dents out with kettles and other stuff.
Golf ball or tennis balls?
Tennis balls, I haven't seen that one right enough.
Isn't that a tennis ball, a potato and a tennis ball or something like that? Okay, maybe not.
I don't
know why.
My TikTok's a dark place, boys.
Michael watches people taking dents out with potatoes and tennis balls.
There's something to do with a tennis ball, I know that much.
He'll be the next Andy Murray.
Are you thinking of the NFL ball one that stuck behind the quarter panel and blew it up? Or
no, but I have seen that as well.
Well,
but a camera's very, very good at hiding defects. My P100 looks mint in camera photos.
Yeah, it looks good. It's just a matter of breaking it down, explaining to them a bit of what you're doing or whatever, and most of the time they understand that that's what it is. Sometimes you get the odd person that knows better than you. Their uncles, friends, brothers, goldfishes, dogs, monkey has done it, so they already know. You get the people coming to you saying, I was told this shouldn't be any more than £100 to fix. And
it's like, well, I started £200 a panel, chief. So,
well, say I don't price per panel, but
do you not price per panel at all?
No, it's like any job. You have your hourly rate to cover your expenses, which is your heating, electric, not heating, but all the
your miscellaneous stuff.
Yeah, the miscellaneous stuff. You've your hourly rate. You work with that there, plus your paints and materials on top. You say you can work out a rough price. You can't be exact given the quote.
No,
you give an estimate for a reason, because you say, or as I said earlier before, like you can't see through paint.
No,
you can't see through the panel. You don't know what's behind it. It could have been repaired previously or anything.
And it's an actual hack job, and you need to completely strip the whole thing back and stuff.
I've seen a lot of times me starting into something, and there's been inches of filler on the panel, and behind all the filler, it's starting to rust because there's been moisture into the filler. So there's no signs of rust on the outside of the panel, but the minute you start stripping into that, that's where it is. If something's damaged, and it comes to me 9 times out of 10, if it's been repaired before with eyes upon and whatnot, I'll want to strip it all back and start again.
Have you ever seen anything that's come to you?
The reason being for that the reason being is because I don't know what process they've done.
Correct.
And if I just fix on top of their work and something happens down the line,
you get the blame because you were the last man at it.
But it might have been something below my,
Yeah.
Have you ever had anything come to you as a painter, and you've looked at a car, and like the fix that's been done previously has literally been like either dodgy or downright dangerous?
Oh, I've seen stuff come in quite often, actually.
Really?
More than you would like to see. Like, there's cars that have come in, they've had panels welded onto them, but they're not really welded onto them properly.
Okay. As in like a couple of spots, and then the rest of it's done with like filler or something?
I seen one. There was actually one came in one time, and it had a quarter panel put onto it. I think it was some sort of Mercedes. Where the join wasn't even welded.
Oh.
At the top up near the pillar. So there was fiberglass in behind it and on top of it. There's a lot of scary stuff. You would be surprised the amount of cars on the road. It's more so from not people trying to give it a go themselves, but the likes of your cheaper prices and stuff. That's what you have to watch.
Stuff that's been bought in an auction and fixed up quickly.
There's going to be people that's cheaper than you. As you say, your man down the road's cheaper than you. There's going to be, because
but the boy's cheaper, and he's not worrying about the pressure inside the spray booth and looking at a humidity meter.
This is it. Like, he might be painting on a shed or whatever.
Yeah.
But fair play
to anybody that is trying that, as long as they're doing things safely.
Yeah. Fair play for having a young business and basically going to all them measures, because at the end of the day it stands to you for a long time. It's a
safety thing as well. You're fixing like cars on the road nearly every day. Some cars they could have family, children in that car. If you do a dodgy repair in that car and a structural piece of it, and that car has an accident, you're liable.
Yep.
And I couldn't live with that in my conscience.
No, definitely not.
Especially now you have a family yourself. You have a daughter and all.
There's some stuff there. There's some stuff there that will maybe come in and it's not worth fixing.
Right.
Like, it could be badly structural damaged, but I'll always tell them that. And if it is too bad, I'll not fix it. It's up to them what they want to do with it, but I'll not be putting my name to it.
Fair enough.
There's also, like you were asking about stuff coming in before, I've had cars come in that have maybe been hitting the front previously. It's maybe come in for just a bumper fix on it, or a bumper just been scuffed. I've taken the bumper off, and you have your crash bar behind your bumper. It could be damaged and bent, and
the chassis legs drove back about 1.5 inches.
Well, not even. There's been a couple that have come in with the bumper bars and stuff, and I've told the customers, like, you're going to need to change that while this bumper's off, because we've explained to them. Normally when you explain that to them, 100% no problem. They don't want to be driving around something that's dodgy either.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I suppose, whatever you're explaining, you're educating, and it's okay for somebody to be like, this is X price, but they're like, but why? and then
This is right.
It's like somebody going in and spend more money in, say, a Tommy Hilfiger pair of jeans instead of a pair of Primark jeans.
Yeah.
They know Tommy Hilfiger probably going to be higher quality.
They're going to last longer.
They're pay the price.
Yeah, similar idea. Aye.
So what's next?
What's next? This year I have a few changes coming into plan.
You do.
That's why I would like to go into my social media a bit more. It's always good that it gets you out there a bit more. It expands your customer base. At the minute, most of my customers are sort of localish,
Yes.
which I don't have a problem with. But again, you would like to be sort of known a bit further and out there. Hopefully this year should help me a lot with that.
Yes, definitely.
Say I have some pretty big changes coming into plan, and I have a 2 or 3 year plan sort of down the line of where I want to be. So it's just a matter of getting to that point now.
Deadly. Well, we've every faith in you. Like you've done plenty of work for me over the years. You'll
I do
continue.
have to say, like, I'm very thankful for all you boys, and everyone's helped me out along the way. And even all my customers, anyone I do work for day to day, or anyone I have done before, you have all done this for me. Like, I wouldn't be in this position without you. And
Well, the fact you're getting repeat business sort of says as much about you as well, to be fair.
even the help that all you boys have given me this past winter months as well.
Me, not
helped
so much, because I've helped a bit at the start, but
No,
I was lying in a bed sick while some other lads were helping
all you
out.
boys done for me that night, like, or that day, them couple of days, was, I couldn't be more thankful for it. And I hate big thanks to my dad, like, because I would not be in this position without him either.
Your dad's so funny, because I've never seen a man give you so much abuse. He is another level. Some of the stuff your dad come out with you to, like that day we were sitting, and
I do deserve it at times, like, to be fair.
excuse me, go on. Like some of the stuff I actually came into me because I was like thinking about you, like obviously coming on the pod earlier on the day, and then that, like, just a couple of things flashed in my head. It's just some of the stuff your old boy cut you into. Well, and I was like, that's like fucking hell, that's like savage. Like, but Stevie, thank you very much for coming on.
No problem at all.
It's been a pleasure. At least hopefully
Finally
now
glad to have got you. So
we're all
It might be a bit sort of peggerly, but sure.
yeah, power of editing.
We're all about
People
more
not even
educated
know
now.
us.
I'll tell you one thing, Michael.
Yes.
Didn't realise it's basically like rocket science.
Do you know what? It kind of shows me how little I've listened to Stevie in the group chat over all these years.
No, I must give, like, it was a serious good chat. I didn't say very much because, like, I don't know.
Seriously interesting.
Oh,
Seriously,
unreal.
Even like the fact, like, talking about the humidity levels and stuff like that. Like,
You never think about that.
no, and
I've
but
definitely never thought about
again, you don't want to shit in the boys who, because there will be people, I'm sure, who listen to this podcast who will have sprayed a car in their shed and got a decent enough result, but I suppose it's all coming down to the repeatability and, you know, achieving that time and time and time again, and the only way you'll properly do that is with the correct systems in place.
Oh, of course. And, like, to be fair, even, like, as I was saying earlier on about getting a new everyday car, and one of the things I had was a lot of the ones that were within the price range were red ones, and I've heard horror stories with, you know, red cars and lacquer peeling, and rung up Stevie and, like, no problem at all, give me all the advice of the day, what to look out for, what not to look out for. You know, if I ended up going down that route, you know, like, would he be able to fix it for me? No problem at all.
Yep.
And said, look, again, I could do it, no problem at all, but, you know, you're never guaranteed that it'll always be perfect, regardless. With and it's interesting to note, like, if anybody does have red cars, try and store them as best you can, keep them out of UV light, and, you know, it'll put a bit of longitude to your car.
Will we move on to the final bits of the podcast then?
Take it away, Michael.
So, cheers to anyone that has joined the community.
Yes.
We're at over 200 members now.
Must be, at least.
We
Anyway.
are. So, to be fair,
I haven't been very active in anything at all
you
recently.
probably should be more active on it.
No, like, definitely his last few weeks, I've barely. It's whenever you have to sort of go car shopping, and
yeah, okay,
it's
fair enough.
Sort of the thing that you have to. You want to be able to get what you want, and like I was telling you before about at the time in the milking parlour, whenever you're doing a big change. whenever I'm doing a big change like that, it's solve every problem that you had or you think you have, and I hopefully have solved all. Well, when I mean problems, anyway. I mean like lack of spec. So,
well, I'll go through a few of the final things here. So, Niamh McGreal got in touch with me on TikTok, and she wanted me to give a shout out to her father and a few mates. So they're taking 6 restored Massey 135s from Mallinhead to Mislinhead.
To Maisenhead.
That's some fuck. Is it not Mislin?
No, Mason.
Oh. Fuck's sake, I'm a dick.
No, I'll tell you why, because actually I've been to Maisenhead myself.
I've been to Crookhaven, but I don't think I've ever been to Maisenhead.
Took the Type R to it, and obviously Maisenhead is the most southerly point of Ireland.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was middle of summer, very touristy place.
I would imagine so, yeah.
It was a disaster.
That
because it is such a small, narrow road. Letting pickups, tour buses, it was squeaky bum time, I have to say how much.
Well, taking 6 tractors that do a grand total of about 18 mile an hour, that's some track. That's more of an undertaking than my plan for later in the year.
It is, but here.
Following on from that, I made it to Owen Smith's 2024 videos, so I was happy with that.
Oh,
so made it just he tagged me in a couple of them there, so I guess I'm part of the cool kids now. Darren Finnerty sent me a couple of different things there. One of them was just he said 2.1. It was a D-Turbo 406. He just said Ultimate Daily 2.1. Some fella put up a picture. It was standard spec 2.1 D-Turbo. I still think I'd rather have a 1.9 than a 2.1, but and here's another one he sent me. So there was a Ford 7610 now, to be fair, clean, in the south. How much do you think a Ford 7610? 7610, not even a 7810, 7610.
4-wheel drive?
Yes.
30 grand?
On you go.
35?
On you go.
40?
On you go.
Many hours?
I didn't even see.
Because that would be a big factor in it.
43,500 for any 7610. I wouldn't care about 2 fucking hours in the clock. That's far too much for a 7610.
If
7610 in my head's not worth more than 12 grand.
No, you're wrong there. They're an incredibly handy wee tractor.
They are. I completely agree, but I just think
you have to realise, like, the only reason they made the 7810 was because they wanted a more punchy 7610, and I've never heard a bad report about a 7610.
No, because they're the 4-cylinder turbo. They're basically a predecessor to a 7740. And there goes the door in the wind. Especially now there's a big gap in front of the shed now, so it just can sort of hang even more so. And finally, Reese Bruce sent me a video of in the snow there was a Starlet pulling a Discovery, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah. Just this like 1.3 Starlet, like absolutely cutting the life out of her, and it's pulling a Discovery out of a hole.
Class.
So I don't know maybe where I've got worse at checking it, or just because I've been so pressured with so many other things going on. I probably haven't looked through as many of them as I should have. But thanks to everyone for listening. I hope you really enjoyed this week's podcast. Definitely getting Stevie on was an education for us, but that was the whole idea.
Oh yeah, like I don't know if there's any other suppose car body technicians or that there that have ever really done a podcast or that spray cars for a living, but
probably
it's basically interesting.
It'll be interesting.
There's a lot of science behind it. Yes, if you really thought into it, yes, I get why there would be, but even the likes of static and panels, the humidity, the way, obviously you never really think about it, but it'd be interesting because I know there is a couple of other painters who listen to the pod and follow the pod as well, and good painters at that. There's also a couple of detailers follow as well, so it'll be interesting to see what they think about Stevie's comment regarding detailers. Just any of the rest of you, if you think there's anything we should be mentioning, or maybe you think there's something Stevie went into and maybe you challenge him on it. Not saying he's wrong, but just going, he does this, personally I do this method or whatever. It would be good to discuss that. Again, we're not going to be able to guys to be really able to answer those questions because we don't paint, and the best I can do is wear a rattle can, and typically wear red oxide because it's normally spraying gates. So there you are.
I'm not your man for painting. Anything else?
Nothing really. Just hope again everybody has enjoyed this episode. I've tailed off a bit and I'm a wee bit more dour than I usually am, but just the night is going on and it's just been
time for bed.
It's been a hectic couple of weeks now. And I'm just toast.
Well, what can we follow you on?
Conor.Magoo. I love seeing the follows, but I very rarely post much. It's again, I know anybody could say it only takes a couple of seconds to do this, that, or the other, but
there's more to it. There's preparation and all that there.
It's even the fact that, like, most of the time, funny, I was looking at even screen time, jokingly, with myself and Gemma, and
you mentioned all this yesterday, originally in the first half.
But like, to show that I've spent under an hour on TikTok in a month, or I think like Facebook was only like 15 or 20 minutes or something. Jeez, whereas Dairy Master Moo Monitor was a hell of a lot more. And and Chrome Remote Desktop, a similar amount, but an Auto Trader, but no. Suppose what can everybody get you at, Michael?
You can follow me on Michael Scullin _ on everything bar Snapchat, which is mscullin. You can follow the podcast on everything at Limited Slip Differences. That's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
And if you are listening to this here and you haven't already seen it, I have to give the man fair dues, Michael. Your preparation with the FIA video.
Yeah, I really need to get the second one sorted.
No, in all seriousness, so I think you did show me not just the Tully Rowan one, but like fair play. It was an extremely good, informative video.
It gets a lot more technically heavy over the next two sections, is what I'll say as well. The next two parts are very, very technical.
And if you haven't already seen it, hopefully you enjoy it.
Indeed. I heard a weird noise out there.
So did I.
I think we'll call it quits at that. Best luck, folks. See you later.